Chapter 281. With a clear target, the second volley of 2,000 shooting sun arrows exploded out. 2,000 streams of light, like a meteor shower, fiercely crashed into the air wall of the 20 assassins. Rumble. It was equivalent to a Qi Jing realm cultivator facing 100 shooting sun arrows. Although the power of a Qi Jing realm cultivator was not as strong as a Qi Jing realm cultivator, there were many of them. With the combined power of 100 shooting sun arrows, the power of the shooting sun arrows was comparable to a Qi Jing realm cultivator. The air wall around the 20 assassins shook violently, almost collapsing completely. "We've been discovered. Not good." Someone cried out. "Let's go." "You want to leave?" "Shoot." Hua Guang shouted again. Hum. This time, there were even more arrows. 3,000 arrows burst out almost at the same time. There were even more arrows, and they were even more ferocious than before. 3,000 rays of golden light shot out, bringing with them endless despair. They closed in on the 20 assassins. Originally, they looked down on the Essence Realm, but now, boom! The air wall exploded from the impact, and the remaining force of the rain of arrows unscrupulously struck the crowd of cultivators. Bang! Bang! The air wall exploded, and all the Xiuzhou were heavily injured. Their long swords struck the rain of arrows, but there were too many arrows. How could he block all 3,000 arrows at once? The assassins were hit by the arrows and fell to the ground. Of the 20 assassins, 5 were dead, and the remaining 15 were covered in arrows. They were all at a loss as they looked at the group of elite realm cultivators in disbelief. "Impossible, impossible," the leader said in disbelief. The 20 of them were assassins, yet they were all wiped out in the blink of an eye. "I'm in the Qi realm, but they're in the Qi realm. Those guys are only in the Essence realm." At this time, no one would sympathize with them. The 800 Qi Jing cultivators who had regained their senses were also glaring at the assassins. It was already merciful that they didn't teach them a lesson. Why would they pity them? At the same time, the 800 Qi realm cultivators were also looking at Hua Guang and the others in surprise. These days, the genie army had only killed 2 or 3 Qi realm beasts, so the cultivators didn't think much of it. At this moment, he finally realized the true power of the Imperial Secret Army. 20 Qi state warriors? Take him down in an instant. Pierce his shoulder blades and tie him up, Hua Guang shouted. "Yes," the soldiers replied. In the blink of an eye, 15 Qi Jing cultivators were tied up and brought to the main tent. In the central tent, Yan Chuan was still drinking and eating. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen looked at the group of Qi Jing warriors kneeling on the ground in confusion. "Boss, try slapping me." The 3 swordsmen felt like he was dreaming. "Slap." The great swordsman slapped the 3rd swordsman's face. "Ouch, you really hit me." The 3 swordsmen's face immediately swelled up. Looking at his palm, the great swordsman said in a deep voice, "It hurts quite a bit. Looks like it's not a dream. Boss, I'll fight you to the death." The 3 swordsmen said with grief and indignation. Zhu Jiansheng looked at Hua Guang in surprise. "They are from the Life League. They are all in the Qi state. Are these Qi Jing warriors still the same group of mortals that he met a year ago?" With 5 dead, the 15 Qi Jing warriors kneeled in front of Yin Chuan like prisoners. "Yin Chuan, you better let me go now. Otherwise, the Life League will kill you like how we killed your father." One of the Qi Jing assassins said viciously. "What did you say?" Yin Chuan put down a piece of meat and said coldly, "I said like how we killed your father." The assassin said again. "Sure." A long spear came from behind and pierced through his heart. It was Hua Guang who killed him with a single spear strike. The 14 assassins who were planning to scare Yin Chuan suddenly changed their expressions. These people are crazy. Chapter 282. After one of the assassins was killed by Hua Guang, the rest of the assassins finally understood their predicament. This group of people did not care about their background. If they were dissatisfied, they would kill them. "Tell me, what is the Life Alliance searching for in the Demon Wind mountain range?" Yin Chuan asked calmly. The assassins gritted their teeth and refused to speak. Hee, you still refuse to speak? Yin Chuan sneered. Humph. We'll die if we speak, and we'll die if we don't. The winner takes all. If you want to kill us, just kill us. An assassin said stubbornly. Humph. The assassin snorted. Did I say I'm going to kill you? Yin Chuan asked. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan. Lu Jin, take them away and interrogate them in batches. Keep those who answer truthfully. Kill those who lie. Yin Chuan said. Yes. Lu Jin replied. Are you serious? You won't kill us if we tell you the truth? An assassin suddenly asked hopefully. Apparently, the assassins were no longer so stubborn. Take them away. Lu Jin waved her hand. The assassins were taken out of the tent. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen looked at this scene blankly. Martial uncle, you're amazing, the 3 swordsmen said in admiration. Don't spoil their mood during the meal. Continue eating. Yin Chuan said with a smile. Okay. Yin Chuan continued eating. When he was done, he drank a cup of tea. 2 hours had passed. Lu Jin entered the tent again. King, they've confessed. These people are really afraid of death. They all confessed. Moreover, their testimonies are the same. It should be true. Lu Jin said with a smile. Oh, tell me about it. They were sent by Wei Chan, the leader of the Life League. He felt threatened by King and wanted to take action in advance. Lu Jin said in a deep voice. Feel threatened? Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes. That's right. This Wei Qing clearly wants to kill His Majesty. Lu Jin said in a low voice. Got it. Go on. Yin Chuan took a sip of tea. Guyu Holy Sun's 8,000 men are actually searching for 2 people in the devilish Wind Mountain range. Lu Jin said. Oh, these are the portraits we found on one of the assassins. Lu Jin handed over 2 portraits. In the portrait, there were 2 ordinary-looking men. Both of them had sideburns and looked very ordinary. Did you find out why you're looking for these 2? Yin Chuan asked curiously. They don't know either. Lu Jin shook her head. At this time, Zhu Jiansheng and the others also looked at the portrait. 6th Martial Uncle? Zhu Jiansheng's expression changed. Do you know him? Yin Chuan asked doubtfully. Senior brother, are you saying that this is 6th Martial Uncle? How is that possible? 6th Martial Uncle is so handsome. He doesn't have a beard. The 3 swordsmen also said in disbelief. Zhu Jiansheng's eyes were filled with uncertainty. After thinking for a while, he looked at Yin Chuan and said, I'm sure that one of the portraits is 6th Martial Uncle, because I saw him with my own eyes not long ago. As for the other one, if I'm not wrong, it should be 3rd Martial Uncle. Ah, the 7 swordsmen were confused. Go on, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Not long after the 3,000 men of Retian Peak underwent the tribulation at the same time, an alarm bell rang in the sect. Do you still remember? Zhu Jiansheng said in a low voice. That's right. At that time, the sect leader was handing over my father's relics to me. Before I could open it, the bell rang and the sect leader left. He came back to see me the next day and said that 2 first-generation disciples went to Demon Wind Mountain Range together. One died and the other returned with injuries. Yin Chuan nodded. The one who died was 6th Martial Uncle. At that time, I heard the bell and went over. I saw it with my own eyes. 6th Martial Uncle looked like this in the portrait. They disguised themselves so that no one could recognize them. But I've seen 6th Martial Uncle dress like this before, Zhu Jiansheng said in a low voice. Chapter 283. Is it really 6th Martial Uncle? The 3 swordsmen asked in surprise. 6th Martial Uncle died not long after he came back. Before he died, he talked with the sect leader for a while. The sect leader dismissed everyone, but he let us see him one last time before he died. At that time, 6th Martial Uncle died extremely miserably, his entire body releasing bloody blisters, more and more of them popping out, as if there was a flame burning him to death. Sect Master said that it was a curse. Zhu Jinsheng's expression became ugly. Ah, 6th Martial Uncle is really dead? The 3 swordsmen asked in surprise. But the sect leader said that one of them died and the other came back injured. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. No, only 6th Uncle Master and 3rd Uncle Master are still in Demon Wind Mountain Range. But the sect master has instructed us to tell the same story to the public. We have to say that the two of them have returned together, and that one is dead and the other is injured. Guyu Holy Son and the others are still looking for third martial uncle? Everyone's face fell. King, there's another piece of news. The person in the painting is in their encirclement. Someone has found the person in the painting, but he's good at hiding, so they couldn't find him immediately. But the place is surrounded by experts, so it's only a matter of time before they find him. Lu Jin said in a low voice. Then third martial uncle is in danger? Everyone's face changed. Martial uncle, what should we do now? Zhu Jiansheng looked at Yin Chuan anxiously. Yin Chuan frowned and thought for a while. Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen looked at Yin Chuan expectantly. After a while, Yin Chuan said with determination in his eyes, Hua Guang, tell the soldiers to eat and rest for 4 hours. We'll set off in 4 hours. Yes, Hua Guang answered. Thank you, martial uncle. The 8 people said gratefully. Since he joined the Day sect, I won't ignore his safety. The same goes for all of you. We'll set off in 4 hours. Adjust yourselves well, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Yes, the 8 of them replied. 4 hours later, Yin Chuan's army escorted 14 assassins and quickly advanced through the forest. The 800 Qi realm warriors were surprised when they saw the army speed up. However, they were happy that Yin Chuan had finally learned his lesson. With 14 assassins leading the way, the journey was rather smooth. The news of the assassins' capture had also reached Guyu Holy Son 4 hours ago. On the same mountain peak, several subordinates stood respectfully in front of Guyu Holy Son. He sat on a throne and listened to his subordinates report. 20 Qi state cultivators, they should be from the Life League. The subordinate said respectfully. People from the Life League? So it was Wei Qin who gave the order to assassinate Yin Chuan? 20 Qi realm cultivators trying to kill an elite realm cultivator, yet they were all wiped out? The Life League is indeed full of trash. One of Guyu Holy Son's subordinates said disdainfully. The Holy Son is just using Wei Qin. Why do you care? Mr. Monroe said with a smile. You may leave, Guyu Holy Son said calmly. Yes. The messenger left immediately. However, as soon as the messenger left, another person ran over. Holy Son, I found him. I found him, the messenger said excitedly. Phew. Holy Son stood up immediately. Holy Son, I found the person in the portrait. The leader of the Life League, Wei Qin, is leading his men to... The messenger said excitedly. Lead the way, Guyu Holy Son said immediately. Yes. Yin Chuan's army hurried along the way. In just one day, they entered Guyu Holy Son's search area. Zhu Jiansheng captured an elite realm cultivator. My king, that person confessed. They found the demon ox's nest in the north. After the demon ox disappeared, no one knew where it went. However, not long ago, someone found the leader and the third uncle. Now, almost all the masters that Guyu Holy Son brought are gathered there. All the masters above the Qi realm have gone there, and the elite realm masters are still rushing there. Lu Jin said respectfully, The demon ox's nest? Let's go quickly, Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Yes, nearly 3,000 Jin E soldiers and more than 800 Qi realm masters rushed towards the demon ox's nest. The demon ox's nest. It was a huge valley. There used to be a large number of palaces, but now it was a pile of ruins. Several mountains around it had collapsed, indicating that there used to be a fierce battle here. Guyu Holy Son stood on a high platform, surrounded by many of his subordinates. Mr. Monroe stood behind Guyu Holy Son. More and more masters gathered around the valley, but most of them were from the Life League. At the bottom of the valley, 2 figures were supporting each other. The leader of Day sect, Feng Tairan. The other was Zhu Jiansheng's third uncle. However, the beard on his face had disappeared. Feng Tairan and third uncle's faces were black. It was obvious that they had been poisoned. Feng Tairan's mouth was bleeding profusely. He looked coldly at the 5 figures in front of Guyu Holy Son. The leader of the 5 figures was the leader of the Life League, Wei Qian. Wei Qian reported to Guyu Holy Son with an ugly expression. Holy Son, When we heard the news, we were afraid that the two of them would run away. We didn't have time to report it, so we came here first. Wei Qian said with an ugly expression. Is that so? Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. It's true. I wouldn't dare to lie to the Holy Sun. It was an emergency. Wei Qian defended himself again. Mr. Monroe said in a low voice. Emergency? The 5 of you came here together? There were only 2 of them. Did the 5 of you need to come together? Why didn't you leave someone to report to the Holy Sun first? If we didn't get the news, we would still be in the dark. Wenruo, don't slander us. It was an emergency. We only wanted to prevent the 2 of them from running away. What other thoughts did we have? Along the way, the Life League sent half of our men to help the Holy Sun. The 5 of us, the immortal state warriors of the Life League, were all sent out. Wenruo, Wei Qian scolded. That's enough. Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Guyu Holy Sun said. Everyone stopped talking. Guyu ignored them and looked at the 2 people who were supporting each other in the valley. Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu of the Day sect. Guyu Holy Sun said lightly. Greetings, Guyu Holy Sun. The 2 of them said in despair. Are you poisoned? Guyu Holy Sun said lightly. Black venom of the Life League. Duan Sanshu looked at Wei Qian with hatred. I don't care what kind of poison you are poisoned with. Do you know what I want? Guyu Holy Sun looked down at the 2 of them. Holy Sun, if you want to go to that place again, I can give you the map. However, Guyu Holy Sun, please let us go. Duan Sanshu begged. You have no right to negotiate with me. Tell me, where is the seal? Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Chapter 284. Holy Sun, if you want to go to that place again, I can give you the map. However, Guyu Holy Sun, please let us go. Duan Sanshu pleaded. You are not qualified to negotiate with me. Tell me, where is the seal? Guyu Holy Sun asked in a deep voice. Ha ha, cough cough, ha ha. Feng Tairan laughed bitterly as he coughed up blood. Terms? Ha ha. Guyu Holy Sun, do you know what happened to the nest of the demonic bull great demon? Feng Tairan sneered. Guyu Holy Sun looked at Feng Tairan in confusion. The demonic bull great demon is an emptiness realm great demon. It suddenly disappeared because it was subdued a month ago. Not only the demonic bull great demon, all the emptiness realm great demons in the demonic Wind Mountain range disappeared because they were subdued. Feng Tairan sneered. Subdued? The surrounding cultivators were surprised. Great demons were emptiness realm great demons. Who could subdue them? Not just one, but a group. The demonic beasts in the demonic Wind Mountain range disappeared one after another. Were they subdued? Oh, subdued? Who? Guyu Holy Sun asked indifferently. Cough cough. Ha! It's your enemy, Yao Tianshang. Feng Tairan sneered weakly. Yao Tianshang. Guyu Holy Sun's pupil shrank. You must have found out why the demonic beasts in the demonic Wind Mountain range fled. It's because Duan Sanshu and his team broke a seal. The aura emitted from the seal frightened the demonic beasts. The aura that frightened the demonic beasts was an aura that could destroy the world. Humans didn't feel anything, but the demonic beasts felt endless death. Therefore, they fled. Feng Tairan said coldly as he coughed up blood. That aura only appeared for an instant, but struck deep into the souls of the thousands of demonic beasts. The thousands of demonic beasts don't know where it came from, but they have a rough idea of where it came from. Yao Tianshang has subdued a group of great demons. Based on their descriptions, we should be able to find a location of the seal very quickly. Feng Tairan said coldly. Yao Tianshang's team is also growing stronger. Furthermore, they are all emptiness realm experts. The gap between the 2 of you is gradually narrowing. Yao Tianshang should be able to find the seal very soon. We'll find it soon. Feng Tairan said solemnly. Guyu Holy Sun narrowed his eyes. We're not talking about conditions. We just want a way out. If you don't even give us a way out, why should we tell you where we are? Torture us? Extorting a confession through torture? Ha, bring it on. Duan Sanshu and I are not afraid of this. The longer we wait, the higher the chances of Yao Tianshang obtaining the treasures within the seal. Feng Tairan said as he coughed up blood. Holy Sun, this old man is very stubborn. Let me pry open his mouth. Wei Chan said in a low voice. Holy Sun, let me do it. My soul-tearing torture can make him suffer so much that he'll wish he was dead. Holy Sun, let me do it. I have experience in this area. The subordinates all asked for permission. Mr. Monroe frowned slightly. He took a step forward and said, Holy Sun, I think we should forget about it. The Day sect cannot run away. Feng Tairan doesn't dare to tell you the location of the fake seal. Why don't you let them go after they tell you the location? Guyu Holy Sun's face darkened as he looked at Mr. Monroe. Chapter 285. Holy Sun, this is a win-win situation. Mr. Monroe said again. I don't like being threatened. Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Guyu Holy Sun's words left Mr. Monroe speechless. He smiled bitterly, nodded, and left. Here, Guyu Holy Sun was the most powerful. No one dared to oppose him, regardless of strength or status. Wei Qing immediately stepped forward and said, Holy Sun, among my 4 junior brothers, Wei Jia and Wei, ye cultivate the Xianming Duo Qi, which can corrode one's soul. Once one is contaminated by the Xianming Duo Qi, one will be in agony. No one can withstand this torture. Let them come. Among the 4 people behind Wei Qin, 2 green-faced men walked out respectfully. Looking at the 2 of them, Guyu Holy Sun nodded lightly. Yin Chuan's army traveled across mountains and rivers, quickly heading towards the nest of the demon bull Great Demon. In the distance, they saw a large number of cultivators gathered on a mountain peak, looking at a large canyon. In the distant canyon, 2 heart-wrenching screams could be heard. It's the sect master's voice. Zhu Jiansheng's expression changed. Third martial uncle. It's third martial uncle's voice. The 3 swordsmen's expression changed. Hurry, hurry. Yin Chuan urged again. Rumble. The group of cultivators quickly rushed towards the canyon not far away. In the canyon, Guyu Holy Sun led everyone to look at the canyon below. Below, Wei Jia and Wei spat out waves of green qi from their palms, enveloping the black-faced Feng Tairan and Duan Senshu. As the green qi enveloped the 2 of them, a layer of frost formed on their bodies, causing them to tremble continuously. Speak quickly, Wei Jia said coldly. Ha. The 2 of them cried out in pain and laughed, refusing to speak. Speak quickly, Wei also Jiao said. The surrounding experts all frowned as they looked at the 2 of them. The 2 of them were too stubborn. He was already in such a miserable state, but he still refused to say anything. Guyu Holy Sun's face darkened. If you still don't speak, I'll freeze and shatter your divine soul, Wei Jia said coldly. However, Duan Senshu gritted his teeth. Even though he was screaming miserably, he continued to look coldly at Wei Jia, refusing to say anything. You're courting death. Wei Jia's face turned cold, and his palms suddenly emitted bursts of purple light, as if they were about to freeze and shatter Duan Senshu's spirit soul. Stop! Boom, 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 boom. In an instant, 100 sword lights shot out, heading straight for Wei Jia and Wei Yi. While the 2 of them were distracted, a large amount of sword light had already arrived. The 2 of them snorted coldly and struck out with their palms. Rumble. The 100 sword lights were shattered with a loud bang. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen attacked at the same time, but they were easily neutralized by the 2. However, this was already enough. At least the 2 of them could no longer destroy Feng Tairan and Duan Senshu. Bang! Chapter 286. Feng Tairan and Duan Senshu fell to the ground. Both of them were trembling. Rumble! Yin Chuan's army slowly entered the valley. Yin Chuan was the one who shouted stop. Sect Master, how are you? Third Martial Uncle, are you okay? Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen helped the 2 injured men to their feet. Wei Jia and Wei Yi did not take Yin Chuan seriously at first, but gradually Yin Chuan's followers increased, and some of them were recognized by the two of them. They came from various sects, and there were about 800 overlords standing not far behind Yin Chuan. 800 Qi state cultivators? Wei Jia and Wei Yi's expression changed. The overlords around the valley also frowned as they looked at the huge group of people. Guyu Holy Sun squinted his eyes and stared at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan, how dare you come here? Wei Yi shouted. Yin Chuan looked at Wei Yi coldly, and then turned to Guyu Holy Sun. Guyu Holy Sun, we meet again. I hope I didn't disturb your mood. Yin Chuan said calmly. Mood? Umph. Guyu Holy Sun snorted. Mr. Monroe looked at them and shouted. Yin Chuan, Feng Tairan, and Duan Senshun knew that the Holy Sun was looking for a place, but they did not say anything. They even threatened the Holy Sun. Hurry up and ask them to tell us the place so that the Holy Sun can be lenient. Oh, Yin Chuan looked at Feng Tairan. He immediately understood everything. Yin Chuan, take your men and leave. Guyu Holy Sun said. Did you hear that? The Holy Sun asked you to scram. Wait, he shouted. Yin Chuan smiled faintly and didn't back away. Instead, he said, Guyu Holy Sun didn't make things difficult for me because I helped Guyu Holy Sun destroy Yao Tianshang sound disaster that day in Liangjing, right? Guyu Holy Sun's eyes turned cold. He suddenly felt that Yin Chuan did not know what was good for him. Umph, Yin Chuan, the Holy Sun has already given you the divine due rain that day. The Holy Sun doesn't owe you anything. If you don't scram, don't blame us for being impolite. Wei Qin shouted. Shut up. Yin Chuan glared at him. You. Wei Qin was scolded by Yin Chuan in front of thousands of cultivators. His face was filled with shame and anger. Guyu Holy Sun's victory against Yao Tianshang is only worth a bottle of divine due rain? Do you dare to say that Guyu Holy Sun's victory is only worth a bottle of divine due rain? Say it again in front of hundreds of cultivators. Yin Chuan shouted. Yin Chuan shouted again, and Wei Qin's face changed. How could the Holy Sun's victory be only worth a bottle of divine due rain? Who would dare to say that? Moreover, there were 800 cultivators behind Yin Chuan and more than 100 sections. Today's matter couldn't be concealed. It would definitely spread. If he dared to say it, Guyu Holy Sun would be the first to chop him in half. You dare? Wei Qin was sweating profusely. You're the one who is bold. Guyu Holy Sun is talking to me. Who are you to interrupt? Can you decide everything on behalf of Guyu Holy Sun? Or did Guyu Holy Sun authorize you to be the spokesperson? Yin Chuan shouted. I didn't. Holy Sun, I just... Wei Qin immediately looked at Guyu Holy Sun, wanting to defend himself. Guyu Holy Sun wasn't stupid. He knew that Yin Chuan was blocking Wei Qin's mouth. He didn't care about Wei Qin. Of course, if Wei Qin didn't dare to speak, the others wouldn't ask for rebuke. Suddenly, it became a clash between Yin Chuan and Guyu Holy Sun. The 800 cultivators who came with Yin Chuan all looked at Yin Chuan in shock. They didn't expect Yin Chuan to be so bold. Aren't you afraid of death? Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Not long ago, I helped Guyu Holy Sun. A just cause enjoys abundant support. An unjust cause finds little support. Guyu Holy Sun is a righteous person. Naturally, you won't make things difficult for someone who helped you just because of a whim. I didn't offend you, Yin Chuan said with a smile. A just cause enjoys abundant support. An unjust cause finds little support. Yin Chuan's meaning was clear. If you make things difficult for me, you will lose your morals. Moreover, you lost your morals in front of the people of the 100 sects, in front of the people of the world. An ungrateful person. Even if he was still the Holy Sun, he had lost the most important thing. Image, prestige, respect. Behind Guyu Holy Sun, Mr. Monroe took a deep breath. He looked at Yin Chuan in shock. This Yin Chuan was so amazing. With just a few words, he forced Guyu Holy Sun into a corner. I naturally won't make things difficult for you, but you are in my way, Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Chapter 287. Of course, I won't make things difficult for you, but you're my way, Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. After Guyu Holy Sun finished speaking, Yin Chuan let out a sigh of relief. Just now, he was asking a tiger for its skin. After all, he was too weak and did not have the qualifications to talk to him. However, this time he succeeded. At least Guyu Holy Sun would not dare to attack him in front of everyone. Guyu Holy Sun, Yin Chuan does not dare to take credit for the help you provided in Liangjing. These two people are members of the Day sect. They owe you an answer. I'll let them give you an answer and use the favor you provided in Liangjing in exchange for Guyu Holy Sun's forgiveness. Let's forget about today's matter, okay? Yin Chuan said again. Guyu Holy Sun narrowed his eyes, and a murderous aura overflowed. In Guyu's eyes, forgiving Yin Chuan's offense was already a great favor. Yin Chuan actually dared to negotiate with him? Bastard, you! Wei Chuan cursed again. Halfway through, he saw Yin Chuan's cold gaze and stopped. He looked at Guyu Holy Sun hopefully. Seeing that Guyu Holy Sun was not paying attention to him, he let out a sigh of relief and stopped talking. He only looked at Yin Chuan with a venomous gaze. You want me to let them go? Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Obviously, Guyu Holy Sun was still unwilling. Yin Chuan turned to look at Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu. The two of you, let me make the decision for you. What do you think? Yin Chuan looked at the two of them and said. Duan Sanshu looked at Yin Chuan curiously. Feng Tairan revealed a gratified smile. All right, I'll leave it to you, Feng Tairan said. And Duan Sanshu nodded. The two of them nodded. Yin Chuan's expression immediately turned solemn. Hua Guang, kill Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu for me. Yin Chuan pointed at Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu and shouted. What? Hua Guang was stunned. Not only was Hua Guang dumbfounded, but Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen were also dumbfounded. The surrounding cultivators and countless experts were all dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, he was speaking up for Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu, and in the blink of an eye, he was going to kill them. You! Duan Sanshu glared at him. Full authority to make decisions? Did that mean that he would kill him? Duan Sanshu was so angry that he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Only Feng Tairan seemed to have understood. Ha, kill them, kill them. It's better to die than to be tortured like this. Ha. Feng Tairan laughed freely. Martial uncle, what are you doing? You can't kill the sect master. Zhu Jiansheng suddenly exclaimed. Shing. The seven swordsmen also stood in front of Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu, looking at Yin Chuan with vigilance. They have agreed to let me handle them. You guys get out of the way. Hua Guang, kill them. Yin Chuan shouted. Zhu Jiansheng, seven swordsmen, listen to Yin Chuan. Feng Tairan ordered. Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen were at a loss. The experts of the 100 sects all looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Even Guyu Holy Sun's face changed slightly. Kill two people? Was this Yin Chuan crazy? Hua Guang stepped forward with his spear. Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen were at a loss. Should they stop him? Crazy? Yin Chuan wanted to kill the sect master, but the sect master didn't let them save him and let him kill him. Crazy? Are you all crazy, or am I crazy? Zhu Jiansheng and the seven swordsmen's minds were in chaos. Stop! Guyu Holy Sun shouted angrily. Turning his head, Yin Chuan looked at Guyu Holy Sun again. These two people are the scum of my Day sect. At this moment, they have confessed to me and are ready to let me handle them. I want to kill them on the spot. Holy Sun, do you still want to plead for them? Yin Chuan stared at Guyu Holy Sun and said word by word. Chapter 288. The long spear had already reached their chests. As long as Yin Chuan gave the order again, Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu would immediately be beheaded. Guyu Holy Sun stared at Yin Chuan with a gloomy face. If it weren't for the people of 100 sects watching him, he would have reached out and pinched Yin Chuan to death. This was no longer a threat, but a coercion. Kill! If Yin Chuan killed the two of them, he would never know where the seal was, and Yao Tianshang would get it first. Guyu Holy Sun? Yin Chuan called out doubtfully again. Yin Chuan's doubts were like a sharp sword that had chosen Guyu Holy Sun's heart, forcing Guyu Holy Sun to do something. Countless practitioners around gradually understood Yin Chuan's meaning. Put death in a desperate situation and fight to live. Yin Chuan was using a roundabout method to save Feng Tai-ran and Duan Sanshu. Well, according to what you said before, your past kindness is written off. Tell me the place I want. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. This time, Guyu Holy Sun's heart was full of depression, as if he was forced to retreat by Yin Chuan in a confrontation with Yin Chuan. The surrounding cultivators also revealed surprised expressions. They didn't expect Guyu Holy Sun to actually let go. At this time, he really let go. Mr. Monroe looked at Yin Chuan in amazement. Although it was a short exchange, Yin Chuan's way of speaking was like a battle. First, he used kindness to build an immortal fortress for himself. Then he kept probing and attacking, slowly forcing Guyu Holy Sun into a corner. Finally, he attacked head-on, using his desire to force Guyu Holy Sun to bow. Although everyone had the same feeling, they didn't think it through as thoroughly as Mr. Monroe. In a short time, Yin Chuan's position in Mr. Monroe's heart rose rapidly. Everyone was surprised. Guyu Holy Sun compromised. Yin Chuan nodded and said, "Thank you, Guyu Holy Sun, for your help." Yin Chuan immediately looked at Feng Tai-ran and Duan Sanshu. Feng Tai-ran's face revealed a gratified smile. Duan Sanshu also finally understood Yin Chuan's intentions, and a kind smile appeared on his face. Duan Sanshu pointed at a boulder not far away and said, "Go and lift that boulder." Boom! The three swordsmen quickly flipped over the boulder. Immediately, a leather scroll was revealed under the boulder. There was a map on the map. Duan Sanshu looked at Guyu Holy Sun and said, "The terrain is complicated in the depths of the Demon Wind Mountains. If you're not careful, you'll get lost. This is the map I recorded. The red dot on the map is the place you're looking for." Guyu Holy Sun looked at Duan Sanshu coldly. He reached out and grabbed the map. Whoosh! The map flew into Guyu Holy Sun's hand. He looked at the map carefully. "Don't worry, Guyu Holy Sun. If this map is fake, you can bury the day sect with you at any time," Duan Sanshu said confidently. Guyu Holy Sun looked at Duan Sanshu below. His face darkened. "You wouldn't dare lie to me. If that's the case, then we'll take our leave." Yin Chuan smiled at Guyu Holy Sun. "Leave? You want to leave?" "Umph." Wei, he suddenly snorted. "Alliance Leader Wei, what do you mean? Guyu Holy Sun has agreed to let today's matter go. You want to go against Guyu Holy Sun's will? You want to frame the Holy Sun?" Yin Chuan said coldly. "Umph. The Holy Sun is the Holy Sun, and I am he. The Holy Sun agreed to let you go, but I didn't. My Life League has a grudge with the Deus sect. This is a personal grudge. What do you think?" Wei, he sneered. "You're shameless." Duan Sanshu cursed. Chapter 289. Yin Chuan looked at Guyu Holy Sun. Guyu Holy Sun looked on coldly, without saying a word. "Guyu Holy Sun, don't you have anything to say?" Yin Chuan looked at Guyu Holy Sun and asked, "This is a private matter between the Deus sect and the Life League. I won't interfere. The people I brought won't interfere either." Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. "Ha, did you hear that? Yin Chuan, you only brought so few people from the Deus sect this time. Feng Tai-ran and Duan Sanshu are seriously injured. Let's see how you're going to escape today." Wei Chu laughed loudly. Wei Chu's arrogance made many people feel disgusted. The 800 experts who followed Yin Chuan didn't say anything earlier. However, when Yin Chuan and Guyu Holy Sun exchanged words, they felt very satisfied. They even put themselves in Yin Chuan's shoes, especially when Yin Chuan made Guyu Holy Sun lower his head. Although the experts' expressions didn't change, their hearts were surging. It was as if they had won against Guyu Holy Sun. Wei Chu's arrogance made everyone unhappy. However, no one spoke up to help. They could see that Wei Chu's arrogance was supported by Guyu Holy Sun. Although they felt satisfied, no one wanted to offend Guyu Holy Sun. They could only watch coldly. "Wait!" Yin Chuan shouted. "What? Any last words?" Wei Chu said coldly. "Bring them up," Yin Chuan shouted. The 3,000 embroidered uniform army members quickly carried out 14 cloth bags. It seemed like there were people twisting inside. When the cloth bags were opened, the 14 assassins were revealed. "Alliance Master, save me, Save me. Alliance Master, save me. Save me. The assassins were pleasantly surprised to see Wei Qin. A bunch of trash, Wei Qin said coldly. Alliance Master Wei, I don't want to fight to the death right now. What do you think? Yin Chuan said calmly. Wei Qi's eyes flickered with uncertainty. You want to use them to threaten me? You're still too inexperienced. Wei Qin's eyes turned cold. Yin Chuan immediately understood Wei Qin's intentions. Since you don't want to save them, then forget it. Kill! Yin Chuan shouted. Yes. SSSS. 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 The spears instantly pierced through the heads of the 14 assassins. Brat, you're courting death. Inside the canyon, Wei Jia and Wei Yi, who had been torturing Feng Tairan, flew into a rage. Let's fight. Disintegrating poison. Duan Sanshu's aura suddenly skyrocketed. He had stimulated the potential of his body by harming himself, erupting with an extraordinary strength. Duan Sanshu, Wei Jia, and Wei Yi began to fight. The powerful impact immediately set off gusts of wind. Dust and sand were blown up in all directions, and stones were sent flying everywhere. Wei Qin led the Life Alliance's people and coldly watched. Duan Sanshu's reckless fighting style was definitely short-lived. Wei Jia and Wei Yi were more than capable of dealing with him. Yin Chuan's group had to die today. However, wouldn't it be better for them to die in despair? How fierce! Yin Chuan smiled as he looked at Duan Sanshu. Zhu Jiansheng, the 7 swordsmen, and Feng Tairan all looked at Duan Sanshu anxiously and worriedly. Only Yin Chuan could still smile at this moment. Yin Chuan shook his head and walked towards Feng Tairan. At this moment, Yin Chuan was no longer worried. This was because Yin Chuan had just forced Guyu Holy Sun to say something. This is a private matter between the Deus Sect and the Life Alliance. I won't interfere. The others I brought with me won't interfere either. It seemed that Yin Chuan had asked for a rebuff and was humiliated. However, this was a promise that Yin Chuan needed. If Guyu Holy Sun didn't interfere, the others wouldn't interfere either. His opponents were only the Life Alliance's people. Yin Chuan walked towards Feng Tairan. Feng Tairan was still frowning. After all, in Feng Tairan's opinion, they were really done for. Here, the Life Alliance had 6,000 Essence Realm cultivators, 300 Qi Realm cultivators, and 5 God Realm cultivators. They couldn't compare at all. Old Feng. Yin Chuan walked in front of Feng Tairan. I've implicated you this time. Feng Tairan smiled bitterly. No, who said that we would definitely lose? Yin Chuan smiled. Seeing Yin Chuan smile, Feng Tairan's expression changed. However, he looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Old Duan won't be able to hold on for long. As for you, you definitely won't be able to do anything. However, you have a good foundation. Let me do it. Yin Chuan smiled. Oh, Feng Tairan didn't understand. Condense an essence clone for me to control. I'll deal with them. Yin Chuan smiled. What? Feng Tairan was shocked. Why? Are you worried that I'll control you? Haha, what's there to worry about? If you want to control me, then control me. Feng Tairan said casually. Yin Chuan nodded. He placed his finger between Feng Tairan's eyebrows, and the two closed their eyes. Buzz. A large amount of essence, Qi, came out of Feng Tairan's pores. Traces of red essence, Qi, gradually condensed into a figure that looked exactly like Feng Tairan. It was an essence clone. Feng Tairan's essence clone. However, Feng Tairan's eyes were different. It was Yin Chuan's overbearing eyes. Yin Chuan controlled Feng Tairan and reached out his hand to pull out the Jade Emperor sword from Yin Chuan's back. Hiss! Feng Tairan walked in front of everyone. The breeze blew his long hair. He looked at everyone from the Life Alliance with an arrogant expression. Chapter 290. Yin Chuan walked to the front, and many people looked at him curiously. The Essence Qi avatar was him, and no one could touch it. Who would give themselves to someone else as a puppet? Of course, it was reasonable. After all, it was normal for someone who was about to die to do something out of line. However, so what if an Essence State Warrior could control the Essence Qi avatar of an Immortal State Warrior? How powerful could it be? Boom! With a loud bang, Duan San's shoe fell to the ground like a meteor. Bang! Yin Chuan reached out and caught Duan San's shoe. However, Duan San's shoe was covered in blood and looked like he was about to die. Third Uncle Master, Zhu and Sheng and the others quickly gathered around him. After throwing Duan San's shoe to the others, Yin Chuan looked at Wei Jia and Wei Yi who were in the air. Ah, Yin Chuan. Wei Qin laughed madly. Your father is stupid. He knew that he would die if he stayed in the Day sect. You are even more stupid than your father. Do you think you can defeat an immortal state warrior just because you have an essence chi avatar? Dream on. Wei Yi scolded. Alliance Master, let me crush this essence chi avatar. Ha ha ha. Wei Jia laughed. Whoosh! Wei Jia turned into a ray of light and rushed toward Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan looked at Wei Jia coldly and waved the Jade Emperor sword in his hand. Bang! The Jade Emperor sword suddenly exploded with hundreds of sword chi. The sword chi rushed out and immediately formed a sword river. With a wave of his sword, the sword chi turned into a river. Boom! Wei Jia was shocked and quickly attacked with his sword, but it was still blocked by Yin Chuan. Wei Jia was too careless, but he couldn't lose so quickly. Those who didn't think Yin Chuan would win suddenly became spirited. Wei Yi's face darkened, and Gu Yu Holy Sun looked gloomy. Is that all? Life League? Here I come. Yin Chuan sneered. The tip of the Jade Emperor's sword was pressed against the ground. Yin Chuan stepped forward and dragged his sword across the ground, leaving behind a sword mark that emitted an ear-piercing sound. Wei Jia's face humph. Wei Jia changed the Jade Emperor's sword chi avatar and Gu Yu Holy Sun. The sword techniques of the Life League are only SOSO. Yin Chuan sneered. Buzz. Yin Chuan's sword pierced out. As it pierced out, the Jade Emperor's sword trembled incessantly. Boom! The two swords Wei Yi Chuan, Wei Yi Wei. Then Wei Jia and Gu, Wei Yi Chuan again. Impossible. Wei Jia unleashed his aura and crashed into Yin Chuan, instantly dodging the sword. Sword 5. The Jade Emperor's sword immediately emitted a dazzling red light. Clang! Clang! Sword to Desan. Sword. Yin Chuan's sword was faster and faster than the previous one, like a talisman that hastened Wei Jia's death. Wei Jia was forced to retreat by Yin Chuan and couldn't fight back at all. Impossible. Bang! Wei Jia's Daoist bond was broken by Yin Chuan, and he was in a dangerous situation. Chapter 291. Yin Chuan brat, don't be so arrogant. Wei Yi shouted from high up in the sky as he dove down. Sand and pebbles were flying at a low altitude, and smoke and dust were rising everywhere. The shadows of the three people could be vaguely seen. Clink, 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 clink. When the swords clashed, thousands of sword chi soared into the sky. Sword 13, Xianming Qi. Jian 14, on my arm. The voice that came out from the smoke and dust made everyone look surprised. From the beginning to the end, Yin Chuan's voice was filled with calmness, but Wei Jia and Wei Yi were getting more and more anxious. Senior brother, quick, save me. Wei Jia's cry of alarm came from the smoke. How could that be? Wei Bing, Wei Ding, you two go and help. Wei Qin's expression was unsightly as he called out to the two deities beside him. Sword 15. Wei Jia let out a miserable shriek and soared into the sky. Boom! A gust of wind blew past, blowing away the smoke and dust. Xing! In the valley, Yin Chuan's Jade Emperor's sword had already turned red. He slashed Wei Yi from head to toe. Boom! Wei Yi was chopped in half in disbelief. His internal organs burst out, splattering all over the ground. However, there was no blood. It was as if all the blood had been sucked out. Half of his body fell to the ground. Even in death, he could not believe that this was real. His eyes were wide open, and he died with remaining grievances. Junior brother, senior brother, Wei Che, Wei Bing, and Wei Ding exclaimed in shock. Countless experts in the surroundings felt their hair stand on end. This was because after Yin Chuan killed Wei Yi, his expression was still as indifferent as ever. He turned around and walked back to the day's sex team. His expression didn't change much. What about Wei Jia? Everyone looked up. Wei Jia, who was in the air, began to descend. While falling, his body was also split in half. There was no blood, only a large amount of internal organs spilling out. He refused to believe that he had been killed like this. Boom! Wei Jia's corpse fell to the ground. His death was extremely tragic. Yin Chuan alone killed 2 God Realm warriors in the blink of an eye. Countless experts in the surroundings felt their scalps go numb. The son of Blood Devil Yin Tao, he is also a Blood Devil. Is he really in the Essence Realm? Yin Chuan? The 800 Qi Jing cultivators who followed Yin Chuan all felt a chill in their hearts. This kid was also a ruthless character. Guyu Holy Sun's face was terrifyingly gloomy, but he had been eliminated just now. He felt even more depressed. Thousands of disciples of the Life League grabbed their swords and looked at the canyon with ghastly expressions. They wanted to rush down, but no one dared to. In front of Yin Chuan, 2 God Realm martial artists were slaughtered like pigs and dogs. If he went down, he would definitely be courting death. Alliance Master? Wei Bing and Wei Ding's expressions turned ugly. Wei Che didn't give any more orders. The look in his eyes changed constantly as he stared coldly at Yin Chuan below. Guyu Holy Sun, thank you for what you did today. We will also take our leave. Yin Chuan said to Guyu Holy Sun with a smile. Chapter 292. As he spoke, he waved his hand and a cloud formed from water vapor carried Yin Chuan and Feng Tyrant's true bodies. Then, he quickly led everyone out of the valley. Yin Chuan had become famous after this battle. At this moment, no one from the Life League dared to stop him. Yin Chuan swaggered out, leaving behind a group of experts in the canyon. It was as if Yin Chuan's group was the only victor, leaving behind only the losers. Guyu Holy Sun's face was gloomy, but he didn't have any excuse to stop them. He just looked on coldly. He watched the 3,000 people slowly leave. Holy Sun, Yin Chuan's reaction speed is too fast. It's the same as Yin Tao's. No, it's better than Yin Tao's. At least, when Yin Tao was in the Essence Realm, his reaction speed couldn't be as fast as a Divine Realm expert. A man in purple said to Guyu Holy Sun. I know, Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Yin Chuan's departure means that Feng Tyrant's Essence Chi avatar can't hold on for much longer. The man in purple said again. His voice wasn't soft, as if he was saying it on purpose for Wei Chan to hear. Yes, he's leaving now. Feng Tyrant's Essence Chi avatar can't hold on for much longer. Wei Chan's expression changed. Guyu Holy Sun looked at the man in purple with satisfaction. All right, we found place. Let's go to the sealed place now. Guyu Holy Sun said in a deep voice. Yes, everyone nodded in response. Holy Sun, I'll make some arrangements. Wei Chan said. Wei Bing, Wei Ding, Feng Tairan, and Duan Senshu can't hold on for much longer. Their Essence Chi avatars can't hold on for much longer. I order you to take 6,000 Essence Realm disciples and 300 Chi Realm disciples to kill Yin Chuan. If he's alive, I want to see his corpse. Wei Chan said in a deep voice. Yes, Alliance Leader, Wei Bing and Wei Ding replied. Yin Chuan was already so terrifying. He couldn't be allowed to grow any further. Otherwise, he would become the Life League's nightmare in the future. Hearing Wei Yi's order, Guyu Holy Sun felt a little better. Go! Guyu Holy Sun said in a deep voice. As he stepped forward, a white cloud appeared beneath his feet, carrying everyone into the sky. Similarly, a large number of powerhouses followed the white cloud into the depths of the Demon Wind mountain range. Wei Qi followed closely behind Guyu Holy Sun. After Guyu Holy Sun left, the 800 Qi Jing fighters who had been following Yin Chuan were now divided into 2 groups. Some people gave up on following Yin Chuan and chased after Guyu Holy Sun. However, some people were still following them, but they were not as close as before. Instead, they were following them from afar. After all, Yin Chuan might be able to kill them. Order all disciples to keep an eye on Yin Chuan. Once Feng Tairan is dead, we will avenge your two martial ancestors. Wei Bing shouted. Avenge our martial ancestors. A group of Life League disciples shouted. Yin Chuan's army quickly left the demonic bull, Great Demon's Nest. Not long after they left, Yin Chuan stopped controlling the Essence Qi clone. The Essence Qi clone turned into Essence Qi and entered Feng Tairan's body again. Feng Tairan's poison had deepened. His face was so black that it was impossible to see his face clearly. Ha ha ha, cough cough. Yin Chuan, I was right about you. Feng Tairan was being carried, but he was excited. Old Feng, close your eyes. I'll help you expel the poison. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. It's useless. This is the black poison of the Life League. There's no antidote. Although Feng Tairan didn't believe it, he still followed Yin Chuan's instructions. It's just a small poison. I can still detoxify it. Yin Chuan waved his left hand and covered it with his sleeve. Suddenly, an emerald green vine appeared on his left wrist. The vine pressed against Feng Tairan's forehead. Suddenly, the black gas was sucked out by the vine. Feng Tairan was surprised. Feng Tairan felt that the black poison in his body was constantly being extracted. Half an hour later, phew, Yin Chuan let out a long breath and kept the poisonous vine. Feng Tairan's face was no longer black. Instead, it had turned blood red. My poison? The poison is gone? How is that possible? Feng Tairan was surprised. I have removed the poison from your body. However, the poison has damaged your nerves and meridians. It is not something that can be recovered in a short period of time. Moreover, you have injured your foundation this time. You'll need to rest for a long period of time before you can recover. Yin Chuan shook his head. The poison is detoxified. Everything is easy. Feng Tairan laughed. Sect leader, you're fine? That's great. The three swordsmen were pleasantly surprised. Martial uncle, you were really awesome just now. Too awesome. The four swordsmen were also excited. Not only the four swordsmen, almost everyone was in a state of excitement. Yin Chuan's miraculous abilities had completely conquered everyone. All right, let me check on Duan Sanshu. He's dying. Chapter 293. Below a waterfall in the Demon Wind mountain range. Yin Chuan brought everyone to a stop in front of a deep pool. Martial uncle, this is the bottom of the pool. It leads to the Black Dragon pool, said the four swordsmen. Yes, thanks to Martial uncle's thoughtfulness, we have a way out. Now that everyone from the Life League is surrounding us, we can't escape anywhere else. The six swordsmen sighed. Yin Chuan nodded and looked at Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu. The two of them were extremely weak, especially Duan Sanshu. His face was extremely ugly, and his body was covered in blood. Zhu and Sheng, seven swordsmen, remember the heavy responsibility of escorting Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu back to the Day sect. You must bring them back to the Day sect to recuperate. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes, Martial uncle, don't worry. The eight answered. Go back. I can't go back. I'm cursed. I can't leave the Demon Wind mountain range. Duan Sanshu said weakly. You'll only be waiting for death if you stay here, so you must return to the Day sect. As for your curse, I have a way, but I don't know if you're willing to accept it. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Oh, everyone looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Curses are actually used on living things, but they can't be used on dead things. As long as you're dead, the curse will be useless. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Everyone was puzzled. What I mean is, let you fake your death, seal all your major acupoints, and then consume the drunken death grass. Gu Yu and the others have gone to the sealed area. Once the seal is broken, the curse will automatically be lifted. At that time, we can wake you up. Yin Chuan thought about it and said, Right, drunken death grass? My master plan at one. Zhu and Sheng's eyes lit up. Ha ha! Duan Sanshu smiled weakly and nodded. After all, Duan Sanshu had thought that there was no hope at all. Now that there was hope, Duan Sanshu was naturally delighted. Huo Guang, Yin Chuan looked at Hua Guang and Lu Jin. Present. I'll give you a mission now. The Life Alliance has sent out all of their immortal state warriors. At most, they only have 100 Chi state and 4,000 elite state disciples. I want you to lead the First Legion and annihilate the Life Alliance. Uproot them, Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Uprooted? Martial Uncle, Hua Guang, and the others are all in the Essence Realm. The Life Moon League has 100 Chi Realm and 4,000 Essence Realm cultivators. How could Hua Guang and the others accomplish that? Zhu Jiansheng said in surprise. The art of war is deceitful. It's not like we're going to meet force with force. If you can't even deal with this little bit of power, how can you be my First Legion? Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yes, Your Majesty. Don't worry. The First Legion will complete the mission. Hua Guang immediately promised. Good. Go and reorganize the army first. We'll leave immediately. Yes. Hua Guang went to greet the soldiers. Yin Chuan looked at Zhu Jiansheng and said, after escorting Feng Tairan and the others back to the sect, if you have nothing else to do, follow Hua Guang and have a look. But try not to interfere. Yes, we will. Zhu Jiansheng immediately said. Obviously, he wanted Zhu Jiansheng and the others to take care of Hua Guang. Zhu Jiansheng naturally agreed. Your Majesty, what's wrong? Are you not going back with us? Lu Jin's expression suddenly changed. Everyone looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. I'm not going back. I still need to find someone. Yin Chuan shook his head. You still need to find someone? The woman in white? Martial Uncle, you're in danger. The three swordsmen immediately shouted. Don't try to persuade me. Yin Chuan shook his head. At this moment, even if the sky fell down, Yin Chuan would not leave. Chapter 294. Then, let's stay and protect Martial Uncle. The four swordsmen shouted. No need. I'm a small target by myself. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Yin Chuan shook his head. But everyone was anxious. Say no more. I've made up my mind. Yin Chuan shook his head. But everyone looked at Yin Chuan and didn't know what to say. King, old slave, stay. This is an order. Everyone must leave. Yin Chuan said. Yes. Lu Jin said with a complicated expression. Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu looked at Yin Chuan weakly. They knew that they couldn't persuade him and could only sigh. All right, Duan Sanshu suddenly said. Martial nephew, open my shoe. Duan Sanshu said to the four swordsmen. Oh, Duan Sanshu opened the shoe and revealed scroll. This is? The four swordsmen were surprised. The map of the sealed land. I drew 2 copies. You can keep this one in case you need it. Duan Sanshu said with a smile. Yin Chuan took the map and nodded. Whoosh! The waterfall fell. Yin Chuan stood on the shore and watched everyone enter the deep pool. They followed the pool and left the demonic Wind Mountain range. After everyone left, Yin Chuan's expression turned serious. He tightened his belt and rushed to a mountain peak with the Jade Emperor sword on his back and looked down. Standing on the mountain peak, he could vaguely see the Life League's disciples in the distance. The Life League's Taoist robes were unique. There was a moon on the chest and a sun on the back. Therefore, Yin Chuan recognized them at a glance. Yin Chuan touched the Jade Emperor sword and said with narrowed eyes, Hua Guang and the others have left, but this place can't be exposed. Jade Emperor, it's up to us now. If we want to divert the Life League's attention, we can only kill. Buzz! The Jade Emperor's sword trembled violently, as if it was happy about Yin Chuan's decision. Let's start the massacre. Yin Chuan's eyes turned cold as he rushed down the mountain. 8 disciples of the Life League were searching around. Not here. Senior brother, there's nothing here either. Humph, they won't be able to escape. There are so many of them, and they've already been completely surrounded by us. Find them for me. The first person to discover Yin Chuan's group will be rewarded with 500 spirit stones. Yes. Looking for me? Yin Chuan's voice suddenly sounded. The 8 of them were slightly stunned. It's just Yin Chuan. The Alliance Master said that Yin Chuan is at the 3rd level of the Essence Realm. Let's attack together and take down Yin Chuan. The Alliance Master will reward us handsomely. Someone said in surprise. Take him down. Everyone rushed over. You overestimate yourself. Yin Chuan sneered. With a wave of the Jade Emperor's sword, Yin Chuan stepped forward to meet them head-on. The Jade Emperor's sword danced in the air, and the sky was filled with sword shadows. SSSS. SSSS. Clang. SSSS. Ah. The 8 of them fell to the ground at the same time, their eyes filled with disbelief. There was a fatal wound on each of their bodies. At the same time, the 8 of them, who were originally full of blood, were now pale and bloodless. All the blood in their bodies had been sucked out by the Jade Emperor's sword. This is just the beginning. Yin Chuan coldly stepped over the 8 corpses and shot into the distance. Yin Chuan followed the map given by Duan Sanshu and headed deep into the Demon Wind Mountain Range. He killed all the disciples of the Life League who were searching for him. In a valley in the Demon Wind Mountain Range, Wei Bing and Wei Ding were listening to the report of 2 disciples. Martial uncles, it's been 5 days and another 20 have died. There are already more than 100 people. Yin Chuan has already killed more than 100 of our disciples. A Qi Jing expert said with an ugly expression. Chapter 295. Moreover, every disciple who was killed turned into a dried corpse. They died a horrible death. Fine, fine, you must find them. Wei Bing shouted. Yes, yes. Hurry up and go. Wei Ding shouted. Yes. The 2 disciples left quickly. Wei Bing and Wei Ding looked gloomy. Yin Chuan alone? He killed more than 100 of us in the Essence State in 5 days. We can't let him walk out of the Demon Wind Mountain Range. The Alliance Master is right. If Yin Chuan doesn't die, the Life Alliance will never have a day of peace. Wei Bing said with a gloomy face. Most importantly, Yin Chuan is very cunning. He avoided all the disciples in the Qi State and only killed those in the Essence State. Wei Ding said with a pale face. He's going to die. The people of the Great River Sect have disappeared. So what if they disappeared? Yin Chuan's death is enough. We have 6,000 disciples. Let's see how he's going to kill them all. Yin Chuan headed north. The disciples of the Life League kept encircling him. The outer sect disciples who followed Yin Chuan's army gradually got the news. 2 white-robed swordsmen stood at the top of the mountain. 300 people? Yin Chuan has killed 300 people alone? His father is the blood demon. He is also a monster. 300 people, all of them in the same level. He killed them all and drew their blood. This Yin Chuan is too powerful. But it doesn't matter. Yin Chuan didn't meet any Qi State Masters. Let's keep watching. Another canyon. Haha, Yin Chuan. Let's see where you can run to this time. Send the signal. A disciple of the Life League shouted. Yes, uncle. 10 or so disciples in the Essence State answered. Whoosh! A light like fireworks shot up to the sky. Yin Chuan's eyes turned cold. He turned his wrist, and the Jade Emperor's sword rushed into the crowd. Sword lights shot out in all directions. Die! Ci! Cia! Yin Chuan's sword was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had already killed 5 people at the Elite State. You are courting death. The Qi Jing leader's face darkened as he swung his sword towards Yin Chuan. Clang! The 2 swords collided, and a large amount of sword chi burst out. Boom! After all, Yin Chuan was only in the Essence Realm, so he was sent flying. However, there were 3 Essence Stage Life League disciples in the direction he was flying in. Die! 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 The Jade Emperor's sword took advantage of the momentum and swung out. Under 3 streaks of sword light, another 3 Life League disciples died on the spot. Bastard! The Qi Jing fighter shouted as he swung his sword again. Dozens of sword chi flew towards Yin Chuan. Dang, dang, dang. Yin Chuan quickly blocked the sword chi. Chi! A beam of sword chi tore open Yin Chuan's sleeve. However, Yin Chuan still managed to dodge it. Yin Chuan didn't fight the Qi Jing fighters head-on. Instead, he attacked the remaining Essence Stage disciples. Martial uncle, help! A few Essence Stage disciples shouted in fear. Help! No one can save you. Kill! The crazy Yin Chuan swung the Jade Emperor's sword viciously. With Yin Chuan's sword skills, These essence stage disciples were no match for him. The difference in cultivation level wasn't big, so he could kill them with one strike. You are courting death. The Qi Jing fighter was about to go crazy. He raised his sword and charged towards Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan stared at the Qi Jing fighter and raised his sword. Yin Chuan's sword skills were extremely fast. In a flash, the Qi Jing fighter's sword Qi was cut open. Under the Qi Jing fighter's control, the sword Qi flew towards Yin Chuan's body. Qi. Yin Chuan's skin was cut open, but the Qi Jing fighter was also cut open. Their wounds were about the same, but the Jade Emperor's sword sucked blood. Ah! The Qi Jing fighter screamed in pain and quickly dodged. Yin Chuan covered his wound and said regretfully, "Too bad. It only cut open my skin." Xiao. Yin Chuan ran towards the forest. The Qi Jing fighter covered his wound with his pale face. He looked at Yin Chuan running away, but he didn't chase after him. Soon, a large number of Life League disciples gathered. He ran in that direction. "Tell everyone to chase after him," the Qi Jing fighter shouted. Chapter 296. Super Yin Chuan in a Forest. Qi. Yin Chuan killed another disciple of the Life League. Yin Chuan did not know how many people he had killed. His clothes were tattered and there were sword scars on his body. However, with Yin Chuan's ability, these scars would disappear soon. The Jade Emperor's sword was bright red and energy poured into Yin Chuan's body. Jade Emperor's sword? Putting aside the evil aura, killing people can also increase my cultivation? Yin Chuan sighed. Releasing the evil energy in his body, Yin Chuan's body glowed red. Another breakthrough? At this time, looks like I have to find a quiet place. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Whoosh! Yin Chuan shot into the forest, leaving behind a pile of dried corpses. After Yin Chuan left, a group of people quickly arrived. The disciples of the Life League had ugly expressions on their faces. The news spread quickly. In a valley, a few outer sect disciples were telling each other the news they had gathered. Yin Chuan is really crazy. 600 people in the elite state. That's terrifying. He killed 600 people with the same cultivation? 600 people in the elite state are nothing. I heard that during this period of time, 8 Qi Jing experts were also injured by Yin Chuan. Everyone was silent for a while. Crazy. Finally, someone could not help but say, if I had just started cultivating, I would have worshipped him as my master. He's too fierce. Yes, I would be satisfied as long as he is half as fierce as he is. As long as Yin Chuan walks out of the Demon Wind mountain range alive, his name will be known throughout the world. Senior brother, are we still following him? Of course, why not? Even if we can't get the heaven-class cultivation technique, we can still witness a legend. Even if he falls soon, we won't be lonely in the Demon Wind mountain range this time. Okay, let's follow him. At this moment, Yin Chuan was like a magnet, attracting the gazes of countless practitioners. Of course, the most important thing was still the disciples of the Life Alliance. At the peak of a mountain, the 5 Qi Jing warriors carried their swords on their backs and looked into the distance. Master, Martial Uncle, we've found him. We've found Yin Chuan's whereabouts again. Someone quickly ran over. You found it? The 5 Qi Jing warriors' faces darkened. Yin Chuan's ferocity during this period of time had already made a group of experts somewhat fearful. Yes, he's in a valley up ahead. He seems to be adjusting his breathing, regulating breathing. Yes, Master, what should we do now? Are we going to kill them? No. Then what should we do? Don't disturb Yin Chuan. Inform everyone and gather all the disciples of the Life League. This time we must take him down. Yes, but what if Yin Chuan escapes? We'll set up the Sun-Moon cycle grand formation outside, allowing entry but not exit. Trap him there and wait for our reinforcements to arrive. Then, we'll attack with all our might. Yes, a few days later, the valley where Yin Chuan was located was filled with white fog. It was obvious that the Sun-Moon cycle grand formation had been set up, trapping Yin Chuan within. Outside the grand formation, more and more disciples of the Life League gathered. At this moment, there were close to 200 second-generation Qi Jing disciples and close to 4,000 third-generation Qi Jing disciples. The 200 Qi Jing disciples looked at each other and finally looked at a bald man. Chapter 297. Senior brother, the two martial uncles should still be on their way here. Now that we have so many people attacking Yin Chuan, can we make a move now? The bald man squinted his eyes and said, absolutely. With so many of us, even if we just stand there and let him kill us, he will be exhausted. If we don't make a move now, how can we face our fellow cultivators in the future? Yes. Enter the formation and kill Yin Chuan. Yes. 200 Qi realm and 4,000 essence realm cultivators roared as they stepped into the white fog and headed towards the valley where Yin Chuan was. In the valley, Yin Chuan sat cross-legged under a tree. His breathing was steady and his face was calm. His hands were placed on his knees, forming the lotus hand seal. Boom! Yin Chuan's body suddenly let out a muffled sound. Phew! Fourth level of the essence realm? Yin Chuan asked calmly. Buzz! The Jade Emperor sword that was stabbed into the ground shook violently as a warning. Yin Chuan slowly opened his eyes. The Jade Emperor sword stopped shaking as soon as he opened his eyes. Yin Chuan stood up slowly and looked around. Above the valley, there were many Life League disciples. Thousands of people surrounded Yin Chuan from all directions. Yin Chuan looked around and saw that all of the Life League's disciples were holding their long swords tightly, looking at him nervously and seriously. Xing! Yin Chuan pulled out the Jade Emperor sword and looked at the thousands of people around him. Yin Chuan, you can't run away. A second-generation disciple of the Life League shouted. No one can save you. This time, you are dead. There's still our formation outside. You have nowhere to run. Break your own meridians, and I will consider leaving your corpse intact. Many Qi realm cultivators kept on talking as if they were looking at a dead body. Yin Chuan sneered and said, You think you can stop me? Your swordsmanship is good, but you're only in the essence realm. Only in the essence realm. A bald man said coldly. Then, what if I'm in the Qi state? Yin Chuan smiled. Qi realm? The Life League's disciples were shocked. Don't listen to his nonsense. He must be in the profound state. As long as his cultivation is higher than 2 levels, he can see through his opponent's cultivation. Martial Uncle is in the immortal state, so he can see through his opponent's cultivation. Yin Chuan is at LV3 of the profound state. A Qi Jing expert said. Humph. Yin Chuan, don't struggle anymore. You're dead for sure. The group of experts composed themselves one after another. Really? I'm not talking about the current state. Yin Chuan laughed. Humph. Don't listen to his nonsense. Kill for me. The bald man shouted. Kill. Many cultivators charged down from the surrounding mountain peaks. Close to 4,000 elite realm warriors. Even if you were to chop them down, you would still be able to chop them down until your hands went numb. Yin Chuan closed his eyes slightly in the face of the 4,000 cultivators charging at him. He released the evil energy that the Jade Emperor's sword had imbued into him. Plop, plop, plop. Yin Chuan's heart was beating faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, it had doubled in size. Boom! Yin Chuan's tattered clothes suddenly fluttered despite the lack of wind. A powerful aura gushed out from Yin Chuan's body. Who? Her long hair fluttered in the wind. Not only was her hair fluttering in the wind, but it was also growing longer and turning red. Rumble. All of a sudden, a large amount of red aura appeared around Yin Chuan. The aura turned into a storm and quickly revolved around Yin Chuan. Rumble. Sand and pebbles were sent flying in all directions, and for a moment, a violent storm was stirred up and an extremely evil aura was emitted. For a moment, Yin Chuan seemed to have turned into a red demon, which made the disciples of the Life League change their expressions and stop in their tracks. Chapter 298. Rumble. Yin Chuan's aura continued to rise. The violent aura formed a whirlwind that blew towards the surrounding peaks. Blood Devil Yin Tao. No, Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan can also turn into a Blood Devil. blood devil? It's really a blood devil. The disciples of the Four Moons Alliance exclaimed. Chi state? This is the aura of the Chi state. It's really the Chi state, someone exclaimed. As for Yin Chuan, he was currently in a state of extreme excitement. His blood was boiling and making a gurgling sound. Yin Chuan could feel the power that his blood was giving him. Not enough. Not enough. I'm not completely excited yet. Yin Chuan's aura grew stronger and stronger. What are you afraid of? Kill him. No matter what kind of demon he turns into, he's only one person. Why should we be afraid of him? Kill. Kill. The surrounding overlords gathered their courage and charged forward with their swords. Soon, Yin Chuan was surrounded in the center. Buzz. Yin Chuan suddenly opened his eyes. A red light immediately gushed out from his eyes. The person standing in front of Yin Chuan suddenly stopped and looked at Yin Chuan's eyes in horror. Yin Chuan's eyes were blood red. Under the blood-red eyes, there was an evil aura that no one had ever seen before. It was an evil aura. You. Just looking at those eyes was enough to make one's heart skip a beat. Yin Chuan, who was surrounded by the blood-red storm, suddenly let out an evil smile. Blood-red eyes? Super theurgy? Some Super Yin Chuan? What a great feeling. I like this feeling. Ha ha. Yin Chuan's personality changed drastically. Although he was rational, he was no longer the reserved person he used to be. More than 4,000 people? If you want to die, so be it. Ha ha ha. Yin Chuan laughed and rushed into the crowd. See. The Jade Emperor's sword danced, and immediately blood-red sword chi shot out. Yin Chuan's speed was extremely fast, so fast that in many people's eyes, he was only a shadow. In the blink of an eye, he charged into the crowd. SSSS, SSSS, SSSS. Their swords danced as more and more people surrounded Yin Chuan. More and more disciples rushed over without any regard for their lives. It was as if they had formed a huge human pile, trapping Yin Chuan in the center. Attack together and kill him. Kill. Roar. Yin Chuan let out a loud roar. Close to 100 practitioners were sent flying by an extremely huge force. It was as if there was a huge explosion. Close to 100 practitioners soared into the sky together. It was as if the sky was filled with flowers and the rain was sprinkling down. Ah! Help! CI. Hundreds of sword chi soared into the sky, and instantly, close to 100 practitioners were cut in half. Only a few screams were left before they were completely killed. Bang! A large number of broken limbs fell down, but Yin Chuan did not care about them. Instead, he rushed towards another group of people and killed them. He was like a meat grinder as he rushed towards the crowd. Suddenly, broken limbs filled the sky. Not good. Everyone in the Chi realm, attack together, quick. The bald man shouted. Kill. Close to 200 Chi realm practitioners raised their swords and rushed towards Yin Chuan. However, Yin Chuan did not even bother to fight with them. Instead, he continued to kill the group of Chi realm practitioners. Now that Yin Chuan had reached the Chi realm, his speed was not any slower than the other Chi realm practitioners. Therefore, the group of Chi realm practitioners chased after him. Yin Chuan was in the midst of hunting down elite realm experts. As the Chi realm practitioners were killed, the Jade Emperor's sword absorbed a large amount of blood chi for him. It was as if the previous slaughter did not consume any blood chi at all. Kill! 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 Wherever Yin Chuan went, the sky was filled with dismembered corpses. Everywhere he went, there was no one who did not cry for their parents. Blood demon is here. Help! Master, save me. Don't kill me, ah. Inside the Sun Moon Samsara Grand Formation, an unprecedented massacre began. Chapter 299. Inside the Sun Moon Samsara Formation. At the peak of a mountain, Yin Chuan's blood-red hair danced in the wind. He was surrounded by a bloody aura as he held the Jade Emperor sword in his hand. He looked like a demon from hell as he stared at the terrified Life League disciples below the mountain. It had been 2 hours, and there were already 1,500 Essence Realm cultivators that had died under Yin Chuan's sword. 10 Qi Realm cultivators had also been killed by Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was like a meat grinder. Wherever he went, there was only death. However, under the joint attack of the Qi Realm cultivators, Yin Chuan's arm was cut open. This was the only wound left after killing the 15,000 Sun Moon Alliance disciples. As some blood flowed out, Yin Chuan looked at his wound. He was not angry. Instead, he revealed an evil smile. He placed the wound in front of him and stuck out his tongue to lick the blood on the wound. The evil light in his eyes became even more intense. Although he was still rational, his nature had become extremely evil. Licking blood was something that Yin Chuan would never do before he demonized. However, he did it now, and he seemed to enjoy it. The evil smile, the evil look in his eyes, and the scene of him licking blood caused the Life League disciples to be terrified. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. What kind of monster is this? Twisting his neck, Yin Chuan laughed. The game has just begun. Let's continue. Ha ha. You, Yin Chuan, what are you doing? A Qi Realm cultivator said with his scalp numb. Game? Have you forgotten? Either you kill me, or I kill all of you. Come and kill me. I'm coming. Yin Chuan said with a ferocious face. Xiao. Turning into a bloody light, Yin Chuan dove down towards the crowd of cultivators. Ah, save me. The Essence Realm cultivators all ran away in fear. Run? The game is not over yet. And you want to run? Leave all of them behind. My Jade Emperor loves your blood. Ha ha. Shoo. It was a one-sided massacre. Yin Chuan continuously killed elite realms. Everyone, let's attack together. The Sun and Moon reincarnation spell formation can only be entered but not exited. Yin Chuan has already killed all of the elite realm experts, so now it's time for us to attack. If we don't join forces now, we will be slaughtered by him. If we can injure him once, we can continue to injure him. Kill. The cruel slaughter continued. Yin Chuan was like the Grim Reaper. Wherever he passed, corpses and organs flew everywhere. Help! The elite realms cried and fled in all directions. However, after Yin Chuan transformed into a devil, he became more and more excited and happy as he killed. Kill. Only by killing could he vent the joy in his heart. Outside the Sun Moon Samsara formation, the disciples of the Life League rushed into the formation from all directions. They had no idea that what awaited them was the despair of death. More and more outer sect disciples gathered around, but they didn't rush in. Instead, they stood outside and watched. It's been 4 hours. I wonder what's going on inside. 4,800 people have already gone in to kill Yin Chuan. There's only Yin Chuan inside. He must be dead. More than 4,000 elite realms and 200 Qi realms. Why hasn't he come out yet? Yin Chuan is only in the elite realm. He should be dead by now. I wonder if Yin Chuan can escape. I don't think so. Yin Chuan is doomed. Chapter 300. The outer sect disciples were all waiting for the result. Humans have a common trait of sympathizing with the weak. They all sighed for Yin Chuan. But no one knew that the situation inside the array was not what they had imagined. After Yin Chuan turned into a demon, he killed everyone. 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. He killed from morning to night. The disciples of the Life League had not come out yet. Countless experts from the outer sect were puzzled. What was going on inside? Inside the Sun and Moon Samsara array, there were dried corpses everywhere. There were already 5,000 people who had entered the formation, but there were only 1,000 people left. Only 1,000 people were left, and these 1,000 people looked as if they were about to go crazy. Don't kill me. Help. Impossible. Yin Chuan should have run out of energy by now. Why? Senior brother, I can't take it anymore. I can't kill him. Yin Chuan has been hit more than 50 times, but I still can't kill him. Senior brother, what should we do? Roar. Yin Chuan let out an evil roar. His eyes lit up as he charged towards the group of elite realms. Master, save me. I want to go out. Withdraw the array. The elite state cultivators shouted crazily. Go out? Don't even think about leaving. The game is not over yet. Continue. Ha ha ha, continue. Die, all of you die. Hiss, hiss. The Jade Emperor's sword was blood red and emitted a bright light. Its power was pouring into Yin Chuan's body. Yin Chuan seemed to never be tired. He kept killing. Most of the elite state cultivators were dead. Yin Chuan also killed more than 100 Qi state cultivators. The rest of the Qi state cultivators were so scared that they did not know what to do. Kill, kill again. If Yin Chuan doesn't die, we will. Kill. The Qi state cultivators roared and rushed forward. Good timing. Yin Chuan smiled evilly. Rumble. The battle never stopped. Outside the sun-moon samsara formation, more and more experts gathered, as if they were all waiting for the news of Yin Chuan's death. However, the formation did not withdraw and continued to hold on. The people who went in never came out again. No one knew what happened inside. At the same time, he wanted to see what was inside. Swish! Finally, the two figures landed in front of the Grand Array. Wei Bing and Wei Ding of the Life League. Someone recognized them. Wei Bing and Wei Ding looked at the array in front of them. There were dozens of people around them using their Dharma treasures to support the array. How is it? Wei Bing asked in a deep voice. Honorable martial ancestors, the second-generation great senior martial brother said that the formation cannot be removed unless the two of you are here. Yin Chuan is inside. Our Life League has more than 5,000 disciples and 300 Qi realm cultivators. The person who set up the formation said respectfully. It's been 12 hours, right? Wei Yi smiled. Yes, it's been 12 hours. Ha ha ha, it's been 12 hours. Yin Chuan must be dead. Let's withdraw the formation. Wei Jiao laughed. Yes. Rumble. The rolling fog slowly dissipated, and the formation gradually disappeared, revealing the scene inside. Everyone looked inside with rapt attention. Ah! Don't kill me, don't kill me. Blood demon, blood demon, blood demon. Chapter 301. Deactivate the array and let me out. Sob, sob, sob. Save me. As soon as the array was deactivated, cries and screams could be heard. In the sky, a demon, surrounded by blood chi, was chasing after a small group of less than 50 people. Their hair was disheveled, and they were terrified. They did not dare to split up. Once they did, they would die. The 50 small groups were terrified. They kept retreating in the face of the demon. There were corpses everywhere. Broken limbs and dried corpses were everywhere. They were all disciples of the Life League, and they were all dead. There were more than 5,000 people in the array, and only a few dozen were left. The others were all dead. All of them. This scene made everyone's eyeballs pop out of their sockets. The spectators from the outer sect were all shocked. How is this possible? 5,000 people? They're all dead? Blood hair, red eyes? Blood demon Yin Tao? No, it is Yin Chuan. He is Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan has also turned into a demon. He killed 5,000 people alone? 5,000 people? Crazy, crazy. This is not real. The onlooker screamed. Blood demon? Is this the blood demon? 5,000 people were all killed. Wei Bing and Wei Ding were also stunned. They could not believe what they saw. Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan killed so many people? This is not right. It is impossible. Even if they stood there and let him kill them, he could not have done it. Master, Master, save me. A Qi Jing cultivator cried out as soon as he saw Wei Bing. Master, Master, Uncle Master, help. The crowd cried and flew towards Wei Bing and Wei Yi. At this moment, they hated that their parents did not give them 2 more legs. In the past few hours, facing the blood demon, they had lost all their courage. Run? Now they could only run. In midair, Yin Chuan's body was covered in blood. There were also hundreds of wounds on his body, but Yin Chuan didn't seem to feel any pain at all. Just as the pursuers were getting into a frenzy, the array was removed. Yin Chuan also saw Wei Bing and Wei Ding. TSK, God Realm? It's boring. I'm leaving. I'm not going to play with you anymore. Ha ha ha. Yin Chuan turned into a streak of bloodlight and shot toward the distant mountain forest. Escape? You still want to escape? Where do you think you're going? Wei Bing bellowed. Stay here. Wei Ding also shouted. At this moment, the two God Realm warriors felt that their heads were filled with blood. There were more than 5,000 people. In addition to the 600 people killed by Yin Chuan, the 6,000 people he led to encircle and annihilate Yin Chuan could be said to be completely annihilated. There were only about 10,000 disciples in the Life League. How could Yin Chuan kill so many of them by himself? So many? After this battle, the Life League had suffered a great loss. The two of them were so angry that they wanted to tear Yin Chuan apart. They stepped forward and chased after Yin Chuan. They had to kill Yin Chuan. They had to kill him. The two God Realm warriors chased after Chun Fan, but none of the 40 Chi State warriors chased after Chun Fan. In the past few hours, they had been driven crazy by Blood Devil Yin Chuan. They were scared out of their wits when they saw Yin Chuan. How would they dare to chase after him? They were frightened and trembling. The fear they had experienced in the past few hours was not something they could recover from in a short time. As for the surrounding outer sect disciples, they were still in shock. After a while, a few of them came to their senses and went to the area where the sun and moon samsara ray was. The ground was covered with corpses and a large number of dismembered bodies. None of them were left alive. It's Yin Chuan's doing. Almost all of them are mummified corpses. It was Yin Chuan who did it alone. Someone said in horror. Damn it, is he telling a story? Blood Devil, Yin Chuan of the Day sect? After tonight, everyone will know Yin Chuan. That's crazy. Chapter 302. Swoosh. A ray of crimson light flashed through the forest. Run? Stop right there. Die, you little bastard. Wei Bing and Wei Ding roared in the air. Their eyes were bloodshot and filled with hatred. Annihilated? Almost annihilated? They had thought of many possibilities, but not this one. 300 Chi State and 6,000 Essence State cultivators were killed by him alone. He was all by himself. He was only in the Essence State. The Life League was on the verge of collapse. More than half of their disciples were killed by Yin Chuan alone. Boom! The ray of crimson light stopped beside a large lake. Bang! Yin Chuan stood at the peak of a small mountain on the lake. His eyes were bright red, and his body was surrounded by a bloody mist. The Jade Emperor's sword in his hand was blood red. His hair was blood red, and his clothes were dyed red. He looked like a blood-red demon. Yin Chuan stood on the peak of the mountain and stopped running. Instead, he looked coldly at the two people who were flying towards him. Bang! The two of them stopped when they got close. Little bastard, you're not running anymore? You still have so much energy after killing so many of my men? How did you do it? Originally, the two of them wanted to kill Yin Chuan in a fit of anger, but when they saw that Yin Chuan was in high spirits, they were astonished. Roar! Yin Chuan roared at the two of them and smiled excitedly. I'm not running anymore. Come, let's see what it's like to kill a celestial state cultivator. Yin Chuan licked his lips. You're courting death. Wei Bing snorted. He slashed his sword at Yin Chuan. Buzz! 100 Zhong long energy sword appeared in the air and slashed at Yin Chuan. It was as if it was going to cut Yin Chuan and the small mountain in half. Jade Emperor. He waved his crimson sword at the energy sword. Hung! As the two swords collided, their auras swirled into a storm, setting off huge waves in all directions. After Yin Chuan's sword strike, he was sent flying with a loud bang. Rumble! About 50 trees were smashed to pieces by Yin Chuan's fleshly body. He crashed into a pile of ruins at the foot of the mountain. 10,000 sword slash. Wei Ding followed up and quickly dealt another blow. Rumble! The billowing sword energy shot straight at the ruins where Yin Chuan was. For a moment, gravel flew everywhere and smoke and dust soared into the sky. Yin Chuan was at the foot of the mountain. Yin Chuan had become a target, a huge target for thousands of arrows. Rumble! Wei Ding continued to slash, and the sword chi continued to flow. It took a full 10 breaths of time before it slowly stopped. After 10 breaths, the ground had sunk by more than 5 feet. Whew! With a wave of his hand, the dust settled. Boom! A large amount of spring water suddenly emerged from the ground. At the place where the 10,000 swords landed, a deep hole appeared, and a large amount of lake water gushed out. The little bastard dug a hole in the ground. In the lake, Wei Bing shouted, "Boom!" Yin Chuan rushed out of the lake and slashed at Wei Ding from behind with the Jade Emperor sword in his hand. Buzz! A vast blood-red sword chi slashed at Wei Ding. It was as if it was going to cut Wei Ding in half. Wei Ding's face hardened. He suddenly turned around and used his long sword to meet Yin Chuan's sword chi. Boom! The power of an immortal state warrior was vast and powerful. Yin Chuan's sword chi blasted toward Yin Chuan. Boom! Under the huge impact, Yin Chuan was sent flying again. He crashed into a large pit in the distance. Crack, crack, crack! Yin Chuan slowly stood up. Wei Bing and Wei Ding's fierce attacks also paused. Chapter 303. How did you do it? Why are you still so energetic after killing so many people for so long? Wei Bing shouted again. This was against the rules of cultivation. How'd he do it? Ha ha ha. Yin Chuan stood up with difficulty and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He smiled evilly, and the red light in his eyes became even more demonic. Immortal state warrior? There's indeed a gap. The power of killing Chi state warriors can't do anything to you. Yin Chuan said with a wild look in his eyes. Good. Tell me what you know, and I'll leave your body intact, Wei Bing said. Intact? Ha ha ha. Yin Chuan said crazily. He suddenly pointed the Jade Emperor sword at the sky. In the name of Yin Chuan, I summon the power of the stars in the sky. Bow down to me. Yin Chuan shouted to the sky. Buzz! As he roared, Yin Chuan's body trembled. Wei Bing and Wei Ding looked at the sky. They suddenly felt that one of the stars in the sky suddenly lit up and let out a dazzling light. The Emperor's star, the North Pole? The two of them were shocked. The Emperor's star lit up? No, it didn't. The Emperor's star's brightness didn't change at all. It was just that a large amount of starlight gathered around Yin Chuan. Buzz! The starlight gathered and gradually turned into a beam of light. The beam of starlight with a diameter of 5 feet suddenly enveloped Yin Chuan. The beam of starlight reached the sky and the ground. Unlike Hua Guang's beam of starlight, Yin Chuan's beam of starlight was extremely bright this time. All the overlords in the Demon Wind Mountain range suddenly turned to look at Yin Chuan. Because it was too far away and there were thin clouds in the sky, the others couldn't see which star the beam of starlight led to. However, they could see a huge beam of starlight in the Demon Wind Mountain range. At the top of the mountain, Guyu Holy Sun and everyone suddenly stopped. Almost everyone turned around and looked at the beam of starlight in the distance. Holy Sun, is this the will of the stars? A man in purple asked in surprise. Who is it? He had actually refined so many star wills, absorbing the power of the stars. Such a huge amount of star power? The ancient moon Holy Sun said in surprise. Could it be a Tao Lord? The violet-robed man asked softly. Who? Guyu Holy Sun's pupil shrank. Guyu Holy Sun frowned. It is similar to what the Tao Lords control, but it shouldn't be. Which star is that? I can't see it clearly. It's too far away. Unless I stand close to that person and sense where the starlight is coming from, it's impossible to tell from here. The will of the stars. Guyu's face darkened. Beside another waterfall, Yao Tianshang sat cross-legged at the top of the waterfall. 8 men stood around him. They were all looking at the starlight pillar in the distance with astonishment. Master, is he a Tao Lord of the Great Revelation Holy Land? Lord Spider asked, holding his zither. Yao Tianshang looked at the sky and fell silent. He shouldn't be. The 3 Tao Lords of the Great Revelation Holy Land shouldn't have this color. Yao Tianshang shook his head. Then who could it be? Yao Tianshang frowned and pondered. Suddenly, a domineering gaze appeared in Yao Tianshang's mind. Was it the young man who had disrupted his battle during the zither competition in Liangjing? No, he's too young. He's only in the essence realm. Yao Tianshang immediately denied. Master, who are you talking about? Lord Spider asked curiously. Don't worry about that. We have more important things to do. Yao Tianshang shook his head and refused to answer. Yes, everyone answered. Chapter 304. In a mountain forest surrounded by Yin-Chi. In a place where Yin-Chi gathered, a black-robed figure looked at the distant starlight pillar. Some clouds were embroidered on the black robe. If Yin Chuan was here, he would definitely recognize this person. This person was the feng shui master who passed by last time, Feng Yinyang. Behind Feng Yinyang, there were two white human skeletons standing. They looked like human skeletons. The skeletons stood behind Feng Yinyang as if they were alive. The eyes of the skeletons glowed with a faint green light. The skeletons saw the starlight in the distance. Looking at the starlight, the bones all over their body made a ka-ka-ka sound. Boom! Boom! The two skeletons actually knelt down like humans. They knelt down to the distant starlight pillar. Feng Yinyang turned his head in surprise. Kneel down? You actually knelt down to that star will? In that case, the star will that person possessed should be a main star? Main star? Which main star? Feng Yinyang said hoarsely. The crepe myrtle star will rushed down, and the starlight pillar enveloped Yin Chuan. A surge of star power poured into Yin Chuan's body. Rumble! Around the starlight pillar, rolling gravel slowly floated in the air as if it was supported by Yin Chuan's overflowing power. Yin Chuan held the jade emperor sword in his hand and stared coldly at the opposite side. Ka-ka-ka! Cracks suddenly appeared on Yin Chuan's skin, and blood seeped out from the cracks. Bang! The blood chi that originally surrounded Yin Chuan suddenly soared more than twice. Damn it! The flesh body of this life really can't withstand this star power. It's going to burst again. Yin Chuan scolded coldly. On the opposite side, Wei Bing and Wei Ding looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Star will. He's only in the essence state, right? How can he have star will? The two of them were surprised. Hey! Yin Chuan spat out a mouthful of blood and smiled evilly again. Didn't you want to kill me just now? Come on. Yin Chuan laughed. Buzz! The jade emperor sword in his hand trembled as he stepped forward and shot toward the two of them. Boom! A huge sword chi that was 5 times larger than the previous one shot towards Wei Ding. Oomph! Wei Ding swung his sword to meet the attack. Hung! The sword swept up a vast wave of chi, and the lake water below exploded with a loud bang, filling the sky with water. Crash! The lake water that soared into the sky fell down like a majestic downpour. With this collision, Yin Chuan was pushed back 50 meters, while Wei Ding was pushed back nearly 30 meters. Wei Ding's expression changed as he said, Strength? Senior brother, kill him. His strength has increased again. He's close to the deity realm. Close to the deity realm. What? Wei Bing's expression changed. Bah! Yin Chuan spat out another mouthful of bloody phlegm. Almost there. Damn it. His strength hasn't reached the divine realm. But it's enough. It's enough to kill the two of you. Yin Chuan said with bloodshot eyes. Yin Chuan took another step forward and charged forward. Xing, the bloody sword formed 100-meter-long sword energy and slashed towards Wei Ding again. Little bastard, you're courting death. Wei Ding charged forward again. 18th sword. Boom! Outside the bloody sword chi, a river of sword chi suddenly appeared and rushed towards Wei Ding. Wei Ding couldn't tell which sword was the Jade Emperor sword. Stop! Wei Bing slashed at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan ignored him and continued to surround Wei Ding with a river of sword chi. Rumble! Wei Ding slashed apart the river of sword chi, but a small part of it still passed through Wei Ding. Xing! There was a muffled sound of a sword piercing flesh. Wei Bing's sword energy left a huge gash on Yin Chuan's back, and blood gushed out. Roar! Yin Chuan roared and raised his sword to defend. Boom! Yin Chuan knocked away Wei Bing's sword. However, the huge wound on his back couldn't be healed. It was a serious injury, but Yin Chuan didn't go crazy. Instead, he smiled evilly. Junior brother, Wei Bing shouted. On the other side, Wei Ding's body was split in half. Yin Chuan didn't defend and killed Wei Ding with one strike. Gaga gaga, explode. Yin Chuan smiled and waved the Jade Emperor sword at Wei Ding's corpse. Boom! Wei Ding, whose blood had been drawn, exploded. No, impossible! Wei Bing shouted. It's your turn now. Yin Chuan licked the blood on his lips and smiled evilly. No, no, you devil, you devil. Wei Bing turned around and tried to run. You only think of running now? 19th sword. Chapter 305. It's your turn now. Yin Chuan licked the blood on his lips and smirked. No, no, you devil. You devil. Wei Bing turned around and tried to run. Now you want to run? Jian 19. He flipped the Jade Emperor sword and pushed out a huge force from his palm. Suddenly, 10,000 Jade Emperor swords appeared around Wei Bing like illusions. They seemed illusory and real, surrounding Wei Bing, who was about to escape. Ow, how is this possible? Wei Bing was shocked. Wei Bing could feel that these 10,000 illusions were all real. 10,000 blood swords? On the other side, Yin Chuan used the 19th blade, and a huge amount of energy was injected into the Jade Emperor sword. Not enough. Yin Chuan looked ferocious. Rumble. More astral power rushed into Yin Chuan's body. Crack, 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 crack. Cracks appeared on Yin Chuan's body, and blood kept flowing. Apparently, the astral power had reached Yin Chuan's limit, and Yin Chuan's body was about to explode. However, the evil Yin Chuan didn't care at all. He was still staring at Wei Bing. Die! Yin Chuan said fiercely. The 10,000 swords shot towards Wei Bing. Ah! Even though Wei Bing had put up a wall of air, the 19th blade was too powerful. It broke through all of Wei Bing's defenses. The 10,000 swords exploded. Boom! Wei Bing exploded. Buzz! The 10,000 swords became one. Dong! Yin Chuan fell into the lake from the sky. Wei Bing and Wei Ding were smashed into pieces. The lake sank by half, and the trees and mountains were in a mess. It was a difficult battle. The starlight pillar suddenly disappeared. However, the cracks on Yin Chuan's body did not disappear. He had already suffered hundreds of sword wounds, but now thousands of cracks had appeared on his body. He crawled out of the lake weakly. This time we've killed them all. The weak man smiled evilly. After looking around, Yin Chuan took a step forward and shot towards the forest again. Due to his heavy injuries, his speed was not fast. Not long after Yin Chuan left, a large number of practitioners gathered by the lake again. Countless outer sect Xiozha arrived at the large lake. There was a battle here. The mountain over there has also been flattened. It's at least a battle in the divine realm. Could it be Yin Chuan? Impossible. Yin Chuan is only at the essence stage. Only at the mastery level. He's only in the essence state. My father wasn't even born yet. Let's keep looking. Yin Chuan, Wei Bing, and Wei Ding should be nearby. The sky gradually brightened. A day's time was almost up. On this day, Yin Chuan killed countless people. On this day, many people remembered Yin Chuan's name because of the Blood Devil's descent. On this day, countless experts were fascinated by the unequal and gorgeous battle. Yin Chuan shuttled through the forest. His whole body was covered with wounds. It was almost to the point where there was no intact skin. The speed of shuttling through the forest was not fast at all. The blood fog that surrounded Yin Chuan gradually dissipated. His blood-red hair also gradually shortened and turned from its original blood-red color to black. He ran through the forest with his hair disheveled. His blood-red pupils also gradually recovered. The supernatural power slowly faded away. Gradually, Yin Chuan returned to himself. He returned to his original state. Walking out of the blood demon state, Yin Chuan immediately felt a bone-piercing pain from the injuries on his body. Chapter 306. Hiss! Yin Chuan gasped in pain. He stopped beside another huge lake and weakly used the Jade Emperor's sword to prop himself up so that he would not fall. Looking at his reflection in the lake, Yin Chuan could barely keep his eyes open. This day? Super Yin Chuan? Ha! I'm too reckless. I don't care about my own safety. I don't like this feeling. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Hiss! It hurts. I haven't been so seriously injured in a long time. Yin Chuan smiled weakly. Gradually, Yin Chuan felt that he could not hold on any longer. He slowly turned his head and walked toward a large rock not far away. Shing! 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 The Jade Emperor sword quickly slashed at the large rock. In the blink of an eye, the large rock was hollowed out. The hollowed-out space was just enough for a person to lie down. Yin Chuan slowly laid down in the cave, while holding the half-stone that he had taken out. He used the half-rock to block the entrance of the cave. The rock was natural again. If not for the tiny cracks on the rock, no one would have noticed that it had been tampered with. Even though Yin Chuan was weak, he did not forget about his own safety. Before he could not hold on any longer and fainted, he found an unexpected hiding place for himself. In the cave, Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. I'm seriously injured. I hope I can recover a little when I wake up. Yin Chuan said with a bitter smile. Slowly, Yin Chuan stopped resisting the sleepiness brought about by his weakness and gradually closed his eyes. Just as he closed his eyes, two bird cries suddenly came from the outside world. Hiss! Hiss! In a daze, Yin Chuan trembled slightly. Blue Wan? The voice of the Blue Wan? Yin Chuan had a vague idea. However, his injuries were too serious, and he was too weak to wake up. Two Blue Wans pulled a caravan down by the lake. It was the Blue Wan that Yin Chuan had entered the Demon Wind Mountain range to search for. Qing Wan stopped at the lakeside. On the platform of the caravan, 10 men with stiff faces slowly got out of the car and knelt on one knee to welcome the people in the car. Two maidservants pulled open the curtain, and a woman in white slowly stepped out. The woman in white held a jade flute in her hand. She looked like a white lotus that had just emerged from the water, spotless. Walking to the edge of the car, one of her subordinates knelt on the ground and used his back as a stool for her to slowly step down from the car. There were 4 maids serving her. Phew! The woman in white exhaled slightly. Swish! In the distance, a white light shot over. Io, heavenly maiden, can't you wait for me? At the very least, I sent you the news and the invitation card. He's chasing me to death. Bang! The white light landed on the ground, revealing a man in a white robe. The boy was holding a folding fan in his hand and was panting heavily. It was obvious that he was in a hurry to catch up. The man was slightly plump and had a fleshy face. His breathing gradually calmed down, and he turned to look at the white-clothed woman with a serious expression. Heavenly Maiden, why did you stop here? The man's voice was magnetic. While being serious, he looked extremely righteous. Although he was slightly plump, he still had a scholarly temperament. Dongfang Jingyi, stop pretending. Young mistress isn't in the mood to scold you, and you're still shamelessly following us? A maidservant said disdainfully. As soon as the maidservant said that, the man in the scholarly robe squinted his eyes and smiled. With this smile, the original righteousness suddenly disappeared. That smile, coupled with his slightly oily face, immediately made people think of the word cheap. Chapter 307. Hee, so you've seen through me. I follow the goddess because I want to listen to her teachings. Not everyone has that honor. Since the goddess has come to the east as the host, how can I not receive her well? Dongfang Zhengpai smiled. But this smile, no matter how one looked at it, felt fake. This wasn't something that was done. It was just the surface of the face that made people feel this way. Oomph. The maid snorted, but the white-clothed woman ignored her. Xiaolan, gently open this rock. He's inside. The white-clothed woman pointed at the rock where Yin Chuan was. Yes. The maidservant immediately stepped forward and searched the rock. She saw a small crack and pulled out the rock. Yin Chuan was lying unconscious on the rock. Miss, he's really inside, Xiaolan said excitedly. Xiaolan gently moved Yin Chuan out of the cave. Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yin Chuan, then at the white-clothed woman. Goddess, you're too amazing. You found him even like this? I, Dongfang Zheng faction, have never submitted to anyone. You are the first. My respect for you is like the waters of the Milky Way, endless and unending. Truly, it is my honor to be able to meet the Holy Maiden. Holy Maiden, Please accept me as your disciple. I realize that only your teachings can enlighten a stubborn person like me. You are. Dongfang Xing faction's voice was filled with nausea. The surrounding maids all revealed looks of disgust as they looked at Dongfang Zhongpai with disgust. You want to betray the Jilu Academy? One of the maids couldn't take it anymore. Jilu Academy? The Jilu Academy is like a floating cloud to me. I don't care about it, as long as the goddess. Dongfang Zhongpai continued his long speech. Enough! The white-clothed woman frowned and shouted. Seeing the white-clothed woman frown, Dongfang Zhongpai immediately shut up. Then, he looked at Yin Chuan with a serious expression, as if he hadn't said anything. The maids looked at Dongfang Zhongpai with strange expressions. This person changed his attitude too quickly? What a scumbag. Holy maiden, it's this kid. As soon as he entered the Demon Wind mountain range, he went around telling everyone that you stole his heaven tier cultivation technique. He caused a huge commotion in the Demon Wind mountain range. It's retribution for him to be injured like this. A heaven tier cultivation technique? Why didn't he ask around? Did the Holy Maiden need a heaven tier cultivation technique? As long as the Holy Maiden opens her mouth, there will be countless experts begging to gift the Holy Maiden a heaven-grade cultivation technique. Dongfang Zhongpai scolded Yin Chuan. Help me over, the woman in white said softly. Yes. The four maidservants immediately supported the white-clothed woman and slowly walked towards Yin Chuan. Although the white-clothed woman's eyes were bright, everyone knew that her eyes were unable to see. He needed four maids to be his eyes. Holy Maiden, what's there to see about this brat? Dongfang Zhongpai didn't understand. The white-clothed woman slowly squatted beside Yin Chuan and gently stroked Yin Chuan's face with her palm. This is bone-touching. Dongfang Zhongpai watched curiously. Miss, this person is targeting you. Do you know him? A maidservant asked curiously. The white-clothed woman shook her head and said, I don't know him. However, his bone structure is extremely strange. It's the first time I've seen such a thing. Extremely strange bone structure? There's a bone structure in this world that Miss doesn't know about? The maidservant said in shock. At this moment, the unconscious Yin Chuan seemed to have woken up in a daze. He opened his eyes in a daze. His vision was hazy, and he happened to see the white-clothed woman's face. Rower, it's really you. Rower, you're alive? Roa, Yin Chuan shouted in a daze. As he shouted, Yin Chuan weakly closed his eyes again and fainted again. Fuck, this brat is so daring. He even dares to take advantage of the Holy Maiden? Dongfang Zhongpai said in shock. Miss, he seems to know you. He even called you Roa. The maidservant said in shock. I'll make an exception and use thought steel to protect me. The white-clothed woman said softly. Protect? Don't worry, Holy Maiden. With me, Dongfang Zhongpai, around, no one can disturb Holy Maiden. Dongfang Zhongpai immediately shouted. The white-clothed woman's subordinates looked at Dongfang Zhongpai strangely. Yes, miss, don't worry. Everyone immediately nodded. Chapter 308. Yin Chuan was lying on a large rock. The lady in white stretched out her slender right hand and pointed her index and middle finger at Yin Chuan's heart. Her fingertip glowed with a green light. Wong! Her fingertip touched Yin Chuan's heart. Everyone stared at the two of them. Mind reading? Dongfang Zhongpai swallowed his saliva as he watched. His eyes were filled with envy. After an instant's time, the lady in white frowned slightly. Miss, what happened? A maid asked curiously. This person's heart is too guarded. I can't decipher his thoughts. The lady in white frowned. What? Mrs. Mind Reading has never failed before. The maid exclaimed. Try again. The lady in white frowned. Wong. Her fingertip glowed with a green light and touched Yin Chuan's heart. Bang! As if struck by lightning, Yin Chuan's body trembled slightly. Then he opened his eyes in a daze. Roa, you're back. Yin Chuan said in a daze. After speaking, Yin Chuan fainted again. Who is Roa? The maid asked curiously. Shut up, I saw it. The lady in white suddenly shouted. Everyone's face turned solemn and no longer spoke. Only Dongfang Zhengpai slightly moved away. Mind reading was both envious and fearful, because this ability could see into the other person's heart. That was the deepest secret. Under this ability, there was nowhere to hide. Kid, good luck. Dongfang Zhengpai moved further away. The lady in white closed her eyes and slowly saw an image. An endless white snow field. The sun shone brightly, and it was exceptionally dazzling. Yin Chuan brought a lady in white and slowly stepped onto the white snow field. The woman in white had a cloth covering her face. With Yin Chuan supporting her, they walked in step by step. Have we arrived? The lady shouted. Shinro, we're almost there. Don't open your eyes. Yin Chuan laughed. When the white-clothed woman looked at the woman who looked exactly like her on the snowfield, a surprised expression appeared on her face. Miss, what did you see? The maid asked curiously. However, the woman in white didn't say anything and continued to watch. On the white snowfield. All right, open your eyes. Yin Chuan smiled. Done? You covered it up for so long, really? Zhenro immediately took off the cloth, and her entire person was stunned. Snow? Why is there snow here? Zhenro was pleasantly surprised. Under the illumination of the sun, heaven and earth were the same color, pure white. Zhenro's mood was immediately lifted by the clean visual impact. So much snow, so beautiful, so beautiful. In front of Yin Chuan, Zhenro wasn't reserved at all. Instead, she followed the feeling in her heart and jumped around, intoxicated. Bang! A snowball hit Yin Chuan. Ha ha ha! Zhenro's laughter was left behind in the vast, snowy plains. After a while, Yin Chuan grabbed Zhenro's hand. Did you specially bring me here to play? How did you find this place? Zhenro asked curiously. I arranged this. Do you like it? I like it, but why did you arrange it? Today is an important day. I arranged this snowfield to bless us. I wish that our relationship will always be as clean as this snowfield, forever untainted by dust, forever untainted by any color. Yes, Zhenro blushed. Chapter 309. Rower, let the snowfield bear witness. Marry me. Yin Chuan held Zhenro's hands and said softly. Ah! Zhenro covered her mouth and looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Okay. Yin Chuan stared at Zhenro. Biting her lips, Zhenro pretended to be calm and said, You didn't give me anything. You want to marry me? What do you want? Flowers, at least a big bouquet of fresh flowers. Did you forget? Everyone else is like this. Zhenro's voice trembled. You like roses? Yes. Splatter. There seemed to be a soft sound coming from all around, and a burst of fragrance came to her nose. Then, blue rose petals fell from the sky and landed on Zhenro's face. Blue roses? Zhenro was surprised. Turning around, the vast snowfield disappeared. In an instant, everything disappeared. The snowfield turned into a grassland. No, a grassland full of flowers. In all directions, there were red roses, white roses, pink roses, purple roses, blue roses, and so on. At a glance, one couldn't see the edges of the flowers. One couldn't see the end of it. It was as if one was in a sea of flowers. Ah! Zhenro looked at the grassland roses in surprise. In the sky, there were hundreds of clouds. The clouds were all piled up by flower petals. They sprinkled down continuously. The sky was covered with Zhenro's favorite roses. Ah, how can it be? How can there be so many? How can there be so many? Zhenro exclaimed. The country's roses are all here. Yin Chuan said with a smile. All? This is the blessing of the whole country. They wish that our relationship will be so fragrant that it will last forever. Yin Chuan said softly. Marry me. Yin Chuan said affectionately. The expression of the woman in white who used thought steal changed. It was as if she was there. Marry me? It was as if Yin Chuan was asking her. How can this be I? The woman in white had a complicated expression. Miss, what's wrong? The maid asked in surprise. I'm fine, the woman in white said with an ugly expression. She had never used mind reading before. She had always watched from the perspective of a third party. However, at this moment, the white-clad woman felt like she was in Zhenro's shoes. Could be because they look the same. The woman in white frowned. Hundreds of flowers fell, and all the roses in the country gathered together, covering the entire grassland like snowflakes. It was a world full of flowers, until the sky gradually darkened. Yin Chuan and Zhenro sat together slowly. There were roses everywhere, but as the sky darkened, the roses gradually disappeared. Who? Suddenly, a wide candle appeared in the sea of roses. A bunch of flames lit the candle. It illuminated a small cluster of petals. Who? Who? More and more candles appeared. In the blink of an eye, they covered the entire grassland. Sitting on a small hill, Lin Fan looked around. The countless flames were like stars in the sky, adding a bewitching beauty to the night. Picking up a candle beside her, Zhen Ro's eyes were slightly blurred. What is this blessing? The candle is our life, and the flame is our feelings. This is a blessing. Our feelings will always be bright and burning until the end of our lives, until the candle is exhausted. In this life, I will take good care of this flame and never let it go out. Yin Chuan said gently. That's great. Zhenro slowly leaned into Yin Chuan's arms. Chapter 310. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, countless candles flew into the air. Countless flower petals also flew into the sky. Even the snow below the petals flew into the sky and gradually gathered in the distant sky. She could vaguely see many people casting spells, but Zhenro ignored all of this. Three things flew into the sky and gradually gathered together. White snow as the base, roses as the background, and candlelight as the center. In midair, they formed a vast flower. A beautiful flower that no one had ever seen before. This is the last gift I thought of for you. I call it the 3 lives flower. 3 lives, 3 worlds, never to be separated. Marry me. Yin Chuan said gently again. Yes. The white-clothed girl who used thought steal suddenly responded. Miss, what did you say? A group of maids asked in confusion. The white-clothed girl's face revealed a trace of anxiety. What happened to me? Why did I agree? Miss, don't disturb me. The white-clothed girl shook her head. Zhenro agreed to Yin Chuan. A grand proposal came to an end. The scene suddenly changed. Husband, this is what my father prepared for me. I heard it's delicious. Let me feed you. The two ate. In the blink of an eye, Yin Chuan's face was flushed red. What is this? Even poison ivy can't dissolve it? Yin Chuan shouted in shock. Zhenro vomited blood and collapsed. Husband, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Zhenro cried weakly. It's not your fault. I understand. You'll be fine. Yin Chuan was in a state of madness. Husband, Rower will leave first. You must take care of yourself. You'll be fine. Don't close your eyes. Yin Chuan hugged Zhenro and cried. Husband, I still remember the 3 lives flower you gave me that day. It's so beautiful. In a series of so beautiful, Zhenro cried and closed her eyes. No. The white-clothed girl who used thought steal suddenly had tears in her eyes. Miss, you're crying? Why are you crying? The maidservant exclaimed. Dongfang Zhengpai also looked at the white-robed woman in shock. Heavenly maiden, haven't you already cut off all your emotions? Didn't you say you would never? Dongfang Zhengpai exclaimed. The white-clothed woman ignored the crowd and continued watching. On the screen, Liang Jing, outside the Demon Wind mountain range. Hum. The blue Wan, pulling the carriage, suddenly appeared in front of Yin Chuan. Zhenro stepped out. The dead Zhenro once again appeared in front of Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was dumbfounded. Ro, you're still alive? Otherwise, why would you appear before me? The scene suddenly stopped. The white-clothed woman lifted her finger from Yin Chuan's chest. He stood there in a daze, his expression extremely complicated. Miss, are you all right? The maidservant asked worriedly. After taking a few deep breaths, the woman in white shook her head and said, I'm fine. Then who is this Roa? The maidservant asked curiously. He mistook me for someone else. I'm a woman who looks a lot like me. The woman in white shook her head. Miss, how should we deal with this person? She slandered you and deserves to die. Should we? The maidservant said coldly. No. The woman in white shook her head immediately. The woman in white didn't know why she stopped the maidservant. After a moment of silence, the woman in white shook her head and said, Let's not bother about him. We have our own matters to attend to. He just mistook me for someone else. Then, Dong Fong Zhong Pai, the woman in white shouted. Yes, yes. What orders do you have for me, heavenly maiden? Dong Fong Zhong Pai immediately said, I know you want a protective talisman. Take care of him for me. When he wakes up, I'll bring you one the next time we go to Jiulu Academy. The woman in white said indifferently. Ah, a protective talisman? Don't worry, heavenly maiden. I'll take good care of him like a son. Dongfang Zhengpai immediately promised. The woman in white frowned. No, you're wrong. He's my grandfather. I'll take care of him like a grandfather. Dongfang Zhengpai promised again. Also, don't tell him who I am. The woman in white sighed softly. Yes, I will. Dongfang Zhengpai said excitedly. Let's go. The woman in white said indifferently. Yes. Everyone nodded. Ing. The green wand let out a long cry and flew away with everyone. Only Dongfang Zhengpai and Yin Chuan were left by the lake. Dongfang Zhengpai turned around and looked at Yin Chuan. What the hell? Kid, what are you thinking? You actually let me earn a protective talisman? And you even made this ice maiden cry? Amazing. When you wake up, you must tell me. Dongfang Zhengpai looked at Yin Chuan in amazement. Chapter 3:11. At the day's sect, inside the main peak's great river hall, Feng Tairan and Duan Sanshu were sent back. The three peak masters looked at the two. Duan Sanshu's body was filled with golden needles, and he was in a state of suspended animation. Zhu Jiansheng was accompanying him. What? Yin Chuan was left alone in the Demon Wind mountain range? Nonsense! Mo Wu Hui shouted. Master, Martial Uncle wanted it himself. We couldn't persuade him. Zhu Jiansheng sighed. Persuade? If he couldn't persuade him, why didn't he kidnap him? Why be polite to him? Mo Wu Hui said angrily. Kidnap? But... Zhu Jiansheng was at a loss. Wu Hui, it has nothing to do with Zhu Jiansheng. Yin Chuan didn't want to come back. Feng Tairan said weakly. Sect Master. Mo Wu Hui frowned and looked at Feng Tairan. Whoosh! A figure appeared outside the great river hall. Sect Master, Peak Masters, there's news from the Demon Wind mountain range. An excited voice came from outside the hall. Come in, Feng Tairan shouted. Soon, a Day Sect disciple entered the hall with a happy face. What news? Mo Wu Hui asked doubtfully. It's news from Sky Peak Master, Martial Uncle Yin Chuan. What? Tell me. Yes, some cultivators who came out said that Martial Uncle Yin Chuan could turn into a blood demon and kill everyone in the Demon Wind mountain range. He killed almost 6,000 cultivators from the Life League. The person said excitedly. Nonsense. 6,000 cultivators? Mo Wu Hui said in disbelief. Yes, it's only been a few days. What kind of joke is this? Feng Tianyu said. It's true. I asked several cultivators to confirm it. 5,700 Essence Realm cultivators and 300 Qi Realm cultivators were all killed by Martial Uncle. Martial Uncle is too powerful. It's true. Mo Wu Hui. Feng Tairan. Zhu Jiansheng. It seems like we don't have to worry about Martial Uncle's safety. Zhu Jiansheng said. Are you kidding me? Killed 6,000 cultivators? Feng Tianyu also said with a strange expression. The father is a pervert, and the son is also a pervert. Gao Bufan said in astonishment. Mo Wu Hui and Feng Tai ran secretly side Demon Wind Mountains. G. He could vaguely hear the chirping of birds. Yin Chuan, who had been unconscious for an unknown amount of time, finally opened his eyes. Looking up at the sky, it was still as blue as before. Touching the ground with his hand, he realized that he was lying on a mattress. Bed? Yin Chuan's muddled thoughts immediately sobered up. He remembered that he had dug a cave and hid inside it. How did he end up here? Phew. He suddenly stood up. He patrolled the surroundings. That's right, it was the large lake from that day. Beside it was a large rock with a cave that he had carved out himself. Buzz. At the side, the Jade Emperor sword trembled slightly. Yin Chuan narrowed his eyes and quickly recalled the scene at that time. Before he fainted, he heard 2 birds chirping, and Roa. I think I saw Roa. Yin Chuan's pupils suddenly shrank. Before he could check his body, Yin Chuan stood up, grabbed the Jade Emperor sword, and looked around. Roa, is it you? Yin Chuan asked anxiously. After looking around and confirming that there was no one around, Yin Chuan's expression became slightly anxious. He. Vaguely, there seemed to be a series of wretched laughter coming from afar. Yin Chuan raised his eyebrows and immediately calmed down to listen in the distance. Wow, so big, so big. The voice became more and more wretched. Chapter 312. Whoosh! Yin Chuan instantly determined the location. It was halfway up the mountain. There was a lot of grass there, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Yin Chuan held the Jade Emperor sword and walked up the mountain. In the blink of an eye, he was near. He parted the grass and saw a figure in a scholar's robe with his back facing him. A man in a scholar's robe was lying in the thick grass. It was as if he could see the scenery at the foot of the mountain through the grass. TSK. How did you grow so big? My eyes are dazzled. Hua-hee. The man in the scholar's robe was immersed in his own world and laughed wretchedly. Yin Chuan looked at the man in the scholar's robe in confusion. He did not know what the man was looking at. Out of curiosity, he waved the Jade Emperor sword in front of him. Whoosh! A large amount of grass was parted, revealing the scenery in the distance. In the distance, there was a small lake. In the small lake, there were 7 or 8 naked women bathing in the lake. Their breasts and buttocks were shaking. They splashed water on each other and played with each other. Yin Chuan's face froze. Bathing? He withdrew the Jade Emperor sword, and a large number of branches were thrown at the man in the scholar's robe. Ouch! The man in the scholar's robe stood up straight and turned his head to look at Yin Chuan angrily. However, when he saw Yin Chuan, his anger disappeared and his face was full of righteousness. Oh, Prince Yin is awake. Dongfang Zheng faction greets you. The man in the scholar's robe bowed solemnly. If he had not seen the man's wretchedness, Yin Chuan would have been deceived by his righteous appearance. Dongfang Zheng faction? Are you peeping on women bathing? Yin Chuan frowned. Ridiculous. Dongfang Zheng faction immediately shouted. Dongfang Zheng faction read the Book of Sages. How could I do such a despicable thing? Dongfang Zheng faction shouted shamelessly. You read the Book of Sages? Yin Chuan laughed. Of course, I'm a scholar. How can you slander me? Dongfang Zheng faction said righteously. Scholar? Then what were you looking at just now? Yin Chuan laughed. This is appreciation. Do you understand? Dongfang Zhengpai said anxiously. Admire? Appreciation should be done openly, not hiding in the dark. Yin Chuan shook his head. Looking at Yin Chuan, Dongfang Zhengpai's expression changed. He immediately revealed a wretched smile and said, Oh, looks like I've misunderstood. Turns out we're kindred spirits. You want it too? Yin Chuan's face twitched. At this moment, Yin Chuan had a preliminary understanding of this person's lewdness. With a solemn expression, Yin Chuan asked, Was it you who took me out of the cave? Hearing Yin Chuan's question, Dongfang Zhengpai's expression flickered. That's right. You were injured to such an extent because of my care. You have no idea how many medicinal pills I used these past few days. Let me do the math. 10 tranquility pills, 20 survival pills, more than 100 pills. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen such a shameless person. Yin Chuan was amused by his shamelessness. Medicinal pills? There's nothing in my stomach. How can there be any medicinal pills? Yin Chuan laughed. That's because the medicinal pills were melted. That's why you didn't feel it. Dongfang Zhengpai continued shamelessly. Yin Chuan shook his head and said, I can give you these medicinal pills. However, You have to tell me who that lady is. Dongfang Zhongpai naturally knew that the lady was the one who found Yin Chuan some time ago. However, Dongfang Zhongpai had promised not to say anything. Which lady? You mean the one who was bathing? Dongfang Zhongpai panicked. Chapter 313. Now that Dongfang Zhengji had said that, he could no longer hide his identity. Scholar. Yin Chuan laughed sarcastically. Dongfang Zhengji's face turned red, but he quickly retreated. I don't know who you're talking about. Dongfang Zhengji said. I just want to know who she is, and I'll give you another 100 upper-grade spiritual stones. Yin Chuan said seriously. 100. Dongfang Zhengji's eyes lit up. That's right. Dongfang Zhengji shook his head and said, I'm a scholar. Money is like dirt to me. I'll keep my promises. 1,000 upper-grade spiritual stones. Yin Chuan said again. 1,000? Dongfang Zhengji's eyes shone with greed. Do you have it? Dongfang Zhengji said disdainfully. I don't have it with me, but the Day sect has it. Yin Chuan said confidently. 1,000 upper-grade spiritual stones? Dongfang Zhengji gritted his teeth and said, I'm a scholar. 10,000 upper-grade spiritual stones. Yin Chuan said again. Really 10,000? Dongfang Zhengji said excitedly. You can write it down. Yin Chuan laughed. Dongfang Zhengji could not bring himself to say it. Sigh. Forget it if you don't want it. Yin Chuan shook his head. Don't. She doesn't want me to tell you who she is, but I can tell you something else. Dongfang Zhengji said hurriedly. Something else? Yin Chuan asked. Yes. Aren't you looking for her? I can tell you where she is. You can go and find her yourself. Dongfang Zhengji said immediately. Oh, now, all the experts are rushing to the ancient seal. She's going as well. I can bring you somewhere nearby, and you can find her yourself. Dongfang Zhengji said immediately. Yin Chuan shook his head and said, No need. I have my own map. Since you don't have any other information about her, forget it. Don't, let me think. Dongfang Zhongpai said anxiously. Yin Chuan naturally didn't leave, but waited patiently. Oh, I remember now. It's like this. You might not be able to see her this time. After all, the gap between you and her is too big. However, there's a place where you can definitely see her. Definitely. Dongfang Zhongpai said with certainty. Oh, I personally sent her an invitation to the Jiulu Academy. In 4 years, she will definitely attend the Jiulu Academy's Heavenly Bestowal Conference. Dongfang Zhongpai smiled. The Jiulu Academy's Heavenly Bestowal Conference in 4 years? Yin Chuan's expression froze. Not bad. What do you think of this news? You will definitely be able to see her. Although I didn't tell you who she is, I did tell you something. Even if I give you a discount, look at the spirit stones. Dongfang Zhongpai laughed. If it's true, you won't be left out. Yin Chuan nodded. Really? 10,000 high-grade spirit stones? Dongfang Zhongpai exclaimed in surprise. Yes. Got a fortune. I knew you were a good person. Dongfang Zhongpai smiled fawningly. Aren't you a scholar? Don't you see money as dirt? Yin Chuan smiled. What's wrong with being a scholar? I like dirt. So what? Dongfang Zhongpai said directly. Don't worry. I will give it to you. In 4 years, at the Jiulu Academy's Heavenly Bestowal Conference. Yin Chuan smiled. What? For years? Dongfang Zhongpai's expression froze. Why, you don't want it? Of course, why not? For years it is. Dongfang Zhongpai said with a conflicted expression, just as the two were talking. Suddenly, there was a loud shout above their heads. How dare you peek at me bathing? Chapter 314. Beside a lake in the Demon Wind mountain range. Yin Chuan washed off the bloodstains on his body and changed into a set of scholarly robes from Dongfang Zhongpai. Although Dongfang Zhongpai's character was not good, he had a spatial treasure which surprised Yin Chuan. After washing off the bloodstains and changing into the scholarly robes, Yin Chuan sat cross-legged on the shore and meditated for a while. After killing nearly 6,000 cultivators, The energy absorbed by the Jade Emperor's sword actually increased my cultivation. Level 5 of the Essence Realm. Yin Chuan opened his eyes and looked at his palms. Dongfang Zhongpai also had a lot of pills. After buying a few on credit, the scars on his body had mostly disappeared. After tying up his hair, Yin Chuan slowly stood up. Whoosh! Not far away, Dongfang Zhongpai turned into a ray of light and shot towards him. Quick! Quick! That old woman is coming again. Dongfang Zhongpai shouted anxiously. Again? Didn't you solve it last time? You peeped on her bathing. Didn't you compensate her later? Yin Chuan was confused. It's not her. It's the other one. Fuck, it's still an old woman. I must have been blind last time. My name is legendary. Dongfang Zhongpai cried out in grief. Get away from me. Yin Chuan shouted. Fuck, you're just going to watch me die. Dongfang Zhongpai's face turned ugly. I never cover for a slut. Yin Chuan shook his head. Just you wait. Dongfang Zhongpai soared into the sky in grief. Seeing Dongfang Zhongpai fly away, Yin Chuan revealed a strange smile. Pervert, stop right there. Return my innocence. Another shout came. Yin Chuan turned his head and saw an old woman with a face full of wrinkles, holding a walking stick and chasing after Dongfang Zhongpai. Her face was filled with shame and anger. An old woman? Fuck. Yin Chuan's face twitched. Ignoring the fleeing Dongfang Zhongpai, Yin Chuan climbed up a mountain not far away. Standing at the peak of the mountain, Zhang Xian flipped his hand and took out a map. Phew, we're almost there, Yin Chuan said solemnly. Yin Chuan carried the Jade Emperor sword on his back and followed the map's guidance. He took a step forward and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Without the Life Alliance chasing after them, their speed was a lot faster. Not long after, they arrived at a nearby mountain peak. Yin Chuan looked at a huge area not far away that was shrouded in thick fog. He carefully checked the map and exhaled. We're here. Yin Chuan's expression relaxed, and he discarded the map in his hand. Just as he was about to step into the fog, Yin Chuan's eyes suddenly narrowed. No, Yin Chuan said in surprise. Looking at the foggy area, Yin Chuan looked around. 64 main peaks, gathering the chi of heaven and earth. Yin Chuan said in surprise. This isn't some ancient seal. This is an immortal's tomb? It's the same as the immortal's tomb that I opened in my previous life. Hiss. Yin Chuan sucked in a breath of cold air. Yin Chuan clenched his fists and became serious. One must know that in his previous life, he put in all his effort to open the immortal's tomb. Moreover, the surrounding mountains and rivers of the tomb were too similar to the one in his previous life. He took a deep breath. Yin Chuan made up his mind and stepped down the mountain again, heading towards the foggy area. After walking for a short while, Yin Chuan stopped in his tracks. In a depression in the mountain, Yin Qi was rampant. Yin Chuan, who was about to continue on his journey, paused and walked towards the depression. The depression was very hidden, and it was surrounded by Yin Qi. It looked very eerie. This is? Yin Chuan took a closer look. At this moment, there were 3 white skeletons kneeling in a circle amidst the gloomy Yin Qi. Chapter 315. When Yin Chuan arrived, the 3 skeletons suddenly turned their heads to look at Yin Chuan. Their appearance was extremely horrifying. Mouth of Qi? Is this caused by a feng shui master? Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan did not barge in, and the 3 skeletons did not come out. Yin Chuan slowly retreated and quickly checked the surroundings. Not long after, he saw another mouth of Qi. Yin Chuan became more and more dignified. He circled the periphery of the fog area and quickly searched. After searching, he actually found nearly 100 mouth of Qi. What a powerful feng shui master, Yin Chuan said in surprise. In his mind, he unconsciously thought of a person. It was Feng Yinyang, who he met in Liangjing City. Could it be him? Yin Chuan frowned and said. After thinking for a while, Yin Chuan no longer bothered about this matter. Instead, he took a deep breath and took out a compass. It was a silver compass. It was the compass left behind by the poisoner in Yinjing City after his death. Looking at the compass, Yin Chuan used his finger to force out some essence blood. The essence blood dripped into the heavenly pool in the center of the compass. The compass immediately started to spin slowly. The compass lightly pressed on a big rock. Buzz! A compass mark appeared on the big rock. Once again, he used the essence blood to write a strange symbol on the mark. Whoosh! The mark disappeared, as if it had seeped into the rock. Using the same method, Yin Chuan found nearly 100 rocks and did the same thing. While doing it, he walked towards the fog area. Gradually, Yin Chuan disappeared from the forest and stepped into the fog area. And when Yin Chuan disappeared, a black-robed figure suddenly appeared in front of one of the rocks. The black robe was embroidered with wisps of clouds. It was Feng Yinyang, who Yin Chuan met once. Feng Yinyang looked at Yin Chuan's back. After a moment of silence, he turned his hand and gently waved it at the rock in front of him. Buzz! The mark that seeped into the rock suddenly appeared again. He knows Feng Shui too? What kind of symbol is that? Feng Shui comes from the north and south. Feng Shui sects have ancestral courts in the north and south. No, this is not the method of the north, nor is it the method of the south. Furthermore, this Yin Chuan is not a Feng Shui practitioner. For someone who doesn't cultivate Feng Shui to be able to use it so skillfully, this technique must be extremely mature. Is there a third school of Feng Shui in the world? Feng Yinyang said in surprise. Watching Yin Chuan disappear into the fog, Feng Yinyang was silent for a long time. Yin Chuan? With the experience of his previous life, Yin Chuan did not hesitate and quickly entered the depths of the fog. Who? After passing through dozens of miles of dense fog, they suddenly stepped into the central fog-free region. The boundless fog suddenly disappeared. His vision suddenly cleared up. 10 mountain peaks surrounded a broken mountain in the center. Broken Mountain seemed to have been cut in half. The mountain had a diameter of 10 miles, and there was a large blue light shield above it. It was as if a hemispherical barrier covered the top of Broken Mountain. Within the barrier, there were 108 large rocks. On each rock, there was a pitch-black door that seemed to be connected to the inside of the mountain. At the center of Broken Mountain, there was a high platform. At this moment, there was a green and transparent person sitting on it. The transparent person sat cross-legged. Strong winds blew around him and gathered around him. No, it was as if this transparent person was formed by countless winds. The transparent person was like an inanimate object. He quietly sat cross-legged on the high platform and looked down at the 108 pitch-black doors. Yin Chuan stepped onto one of the surrounding mountain peaks and also saw the surrounding scenery. At this moment, there were thousands of people gathered on the 10 surrounding mountains. Not only were there humans, but there were also demons. The north and south were facing each other. The south was full of cultivators. Leading them was the noble Guyu Holy Sun. Behind him stood 4,000 cultivators. All of them looked very serious. The north was full of demons. Leading them was the arrogant Yao Tianshang. Behind Yao Tianshang stood 8 human-shaped great demons and about 4,000 demon kings. Wolves, snakes, bears, leopards, everything that one could think of was there. All of them had an imposing aura. Neither Guyu Holy Sun nor Yao Tianshang stepped into the center of Broken Mountain. Perhaps they had already stepped in, but they didn't. Yao Tianshang faced off against Guyu. The two of them stared at each other coldly. They were ready to fight at any moment. Yin Chuan's sudden appearance immediately eased the tense atmosphere between the two sides. Almost at the same time, everyone's eyes suddenly gathered on Yin Chuan. A look of surprise flashed across Yao Tianshang's face. Guyu Holy Sun's eyes narrowed. He also looked at Yin Chuan in surprise. Yin Chuan, you're not dead yet? Wei Chei's expression changed. Clearly, news of blood demon Yin Chuan had not arrived yet. Perhaps the people following Yin Chuan had not arrived yet. Looking at Wei Chei, Yin Chuan revealed a cold smile. Alliance Master Wei, you sent the entire sect to hunt me down. How generous. Humph. Brat, you are lucky. To think that you managed to make it here alive. However, your good days are over, Wei Chei said coldly. As Wei Che spoke, he clenched his fists. It looked like he wanted to attack and kill Yin Chuan. "Hey, Brother Yin, why are you only here now?" A voice suddenly came from the crowd. A scholarly robed man quickly walked out from the crowd of cultivators. It was Dongfang Zhenpai. Huh? Everyone felt slightly confused. "You arrived early?" Yin Chuan said with a frown. "Of course. I can fly, and you can only walk. I will definitely be faster than you," Dongfang Zhenpai said with a smile. "What about that old woman?" Yin Chuan asked with a smile. Dongfang Zhenpai's expression froze. "Who are you?" Wei Che said coldly. Dongfang Zhenpai stood beside Yin Chuan and looked at Wei Che. "This one is the great scholar of the Jiulu Academy, Dongfang Zhenpai. Greetings, fellow cultivators." "Great scholar." Gasps of surprise came from the crowd. "Jiulu Academy?" Wei Che said with a frown. "Humph. You say that you are the great scholar of the Jiulu Academy. And you are? Why haven't I heard of you before?" Wei Che shouted. The Jiulu Academy was a huge mountain. If he didn't move it away, Wei Che wouldn't be able to make a move on Yin Chuan. "When Ruo Brat, tell him who I am." Dongfang Zhenpai shouted at Mr. Monroe. The moment Dongfang Zhenpai spoke, everyone looked at Mr. Monroe. After all, many people knew that Mr. Monroe was the young master of the Jiulu Academy. "Greetings, Mr. Dongfang." Mr. Dongfang is indeed the great scholar of the Jiulu Academy, Mr. Monroe said with a bitter smile. Wei Che's expression changed. "Did you hear that? If you continue to be impudent, you will be declaring war on the Jiulu Academy," Dongfang Zhenpai shouted. Wei Che's expression froze. Guyu Holy Sun stared at Dongfang Zhenpai. He smiled faintly and said, "Dongfang Zhenpai, what are you doing here? Are you representing the Jiulu Academy to compete with me?" The moment Guyu Holy Sun spoke, everyone fell silent. Dongfang Zhenpai's expression changed. He smiled and said, How could I compete with the Holy Sun? I was just passing by, so I came to take a look. You guys continue." Chapter 3:16. Dongfang Zhenpai's expression changed. He smiled and said, How would I dare to compete with you, Holy Sun? I was just passing by and decided to take a look. You guys continue." Guyu Holy Sun was satisfied with Dongfang Zhenpai's fawning expression. Then, the ancient Moon Saint Sun looked at Yao Tianshang again. Yao Tianshang looked at Guyu Holy Sun with a smile. "Guyu, we monsters have finished another round. Now it's your turn," Yao Tianshang said calmly. Guyu Holy Sun's expression darkened. "What do you mean?" Yin Chuan asked Dongfang Zhenpai. "You don't know. We came too late. The monsters have already broken in, and more than half of them died." Dongfang Zhenpai said softly, "Oh, I heard that something big has happened to this place. It's different from before. There's a treasure inside the seal, and we can only get it by breaking the outer defense. That's why Yao Tianshang and Guyu haven't attacked yet. Do you see the blue barrier on top of Broken Peak?" Dongfang Zhenpai said. Yin Chuan looked at the barrier on top of Broken Peak. Yin Chuan was familiar with the barrier. In his previous life, when he opened the Immortal's tomb, he experienced the cruelty of the barrier. Countless people died in that battle before he could find the way. The blue barrier is also known as the Immortal's domain. Once you enter, your cultivation will be sealed. Other than your physical strength, you won't be able to use any magic power. This is also why Guyu and Yao Tianshang didn't dare to enter. Dongfang Zhenpai explained. There are 108 gates at the peak of Broken Mountain. Only one of them leads to the interior of the seal. But up until now, no one has been able to find it. Of these 108 gates, other than the one that's the correct one, the others are all teleportation gates. They teleport you to the sky, where you'll be bombarded by lightning. You don't know this, but the previous batch of demonic beasts risked their lives to charge in. In the end, they were teleported high up in the sky. Dark clouds covered the sky, and lightning rained down. Yin Chuan nodded and secretly exhaled. It was the same as the Immortal's tomb that had been opened in his previous life. Yin Chuan also knew that the defense was still in operation. The 108 doors didn't look like anything on the outside, but the interior was constantly changing. In other words, the only entrance was always different. This was the conclusion reached after sacrificing countless soldiers in his previous life. Yin Chuan naturally wouldn't tell anyone. Actually, the previous batch of demonic beasts wasn't too bad. The main problem was the invisible man on the high platform in the center. Did you see that? That's the invisible man formed by the wind. He controls the Immortal's domain. Once someone barges in, his wind blades will be like a storm, reaping the life of the intruder. He's the Grim Reaper. Dongfang Zhengpai explained. How many batches of demonic beasts have there been? Yin Chuan asked. I'm not sure, but when I arrived, the demonic beasts had barged in. Dongfang Zhengpai shook his head. Looking at Broken Mountain in the center, Yin Chuan's heart skipped a beat. Zhenro didn't appear. Yin Chuan's thoughts turned to the items in the Immortal's tomb. When he opened the Immortal's tomb in his previous life, the treasures inside were earth-shattering. This time, he actually saw the same tomb again. Because of his previous experience, Yin Chuan knew all the traps inside. Yin Chuan alone was able to walk into the deepest part of the forest without breaking a sweat. However, his cultivation in this life was too low. How could he obtain the treasures in front of so many people? Moreover, there was a feng shui master waiting outside. Chapter 3:17. During this time, Guyu Holy Sun swept his gaze over the crowd. Guyu Holy Sun's gaze made many people nervous. After all, if they went down, it was likely that they would be finished. Choose one person from each of the sects that came with me. They must enter. Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Ah, everyone exclaimed. Regardless of life or death, I will bestow an earth-grade technique to your sect. Whoever finds the entrance will be given a heaven-grade technique. If anyone dares to refuse, I will wipe out their entire sect. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Holy Sun, everyone exclaimed. However, under Guyu's cold gaze, no one dared to resist. Discuss among yourselves. Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Yes. The cultivators helplessly discussed who should go. Holy Sun, those two over there, although they aren't with us, aren't they? Wei Che whispered to Guyu Holy Sun. As he spoke, Wei Che looked coldly at Yin Chuan and Dongfang Zhengpai. If Wei Che wanted Yin Chuan dead, the Zhu Immortal Domain was the best place to do so. Besides, Wei Che knew that Guyu Holy Sun wanted Yin Chuan dead, so he went with the flow. Guyu Holy Sun glanced at Wei Che. Naturally, he knew what he was thinking. He sneered, then turned to Yin Chuan and Dongfang Zhengpai. Wei Che wanted to kill Yin Chuan just now. Did you, Dongfang Zhengpai, want to protect him? Guyu Holy Sun asked indifferently. Huh, a friend asked me to take care of him. Holy Sun, please don't worry. Dongfang Zhengpai laughed apologetically. In that case, I'll treat him as if he's with the Julu Academy. You heard what I said just now. Now, I want him to enter the Zhu Immortal Domain and find the entrance. Guyu said indifferently. Holy Sun, please don't do that. We're just passing by and are here to take a look. We won't be joining you. Dongfang Zhengpai pleaded. But what if I insist? Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. Holy Sun, how about you give the Julu Academy some face? Today, I really don't want anything to happen to him. Dongfang Zhengpai pleaded again. In Yin Chuan's eyes, he had already done his best. After all, he didn't have any relationship with the Eastern Orthodox faction. No. Are you trying to test my patience? Dongfang Zheng sect, I'll say it one more time. This time, someone from your Julu Academy has to go in. If he doesn't want to go in, fine. You can go in. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. If Yin Chuan didn't go in, he would go in himself? Dongfang Zhengpai's expression changed. Dongfang Zhengpai's expression changed and became serious. Holy Sun, I've thought about it. You're right. I protected Yin Chuan once. He should enter the Zhu Immortal Domain and find a way to break the array for the Holy Sun. Huh? Everyone was taken aback. When they saw Dongfang Zhengpai's serious expression, they thought that he was going to rebel against Guyu Holy Sun. Why did he suddenly agree? Did he have any backbone? Did he have any moral integrity? Only Mr. Monroe smiled bitterly. Mr. Monroe knew Dongfang Zhengpai too well. He was a complete scumbag. Guyu Holy Sun was also slightly surprised when he heard Dongfang Zhengpai's words. Then, a look of disdain appeared in his eyes. Don't force yourself, Guyu Holy Sun mocked. I'm not forcing myself. I'm just saying what's right, Dongfang Zhengpai said righteously. After betraying Yin Chuan in front of everyone, he still had the face to say what's right? Shameless. Scumbag. Cultured scum. Chapter 3:18. All the cultivators looked at the shameless bastard with disdain. Even the demons looked at Dongfang Zhengpai with disdain. They had seen shameless humans before, but they had never seen such a shameless human before. They had learned something new. Brother Yin, you should know that it's better for you to die alone than the two of us. Don't worry. If anything happens to you, I'll burn incense and light candles for you on Qingming and the 15th. Dongfang Zhengpai said to Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan looked at Dongfang Zhengpai with interest. Yin Chuan did not blame him. After all, Guyu Holy Sun had targeted him. Dongfang Zhengpai had already done his best. No worries. Yin Chuan smiled. Yin Chuan looked at Guyu Holy Sun. I'll listen to Guyu Holy Sun. I'll enter the immortal domain. However, I'd like to ask Guyu Holy Sun, are you really going to do as you say? Do you know how to hide evil? Yin Chuan smiled faintly. Guyu Holy Sun glared at him. How dare you? Is the Holy Sun someone you can slander? Wei Qin shouted. On the other side, Yao Tianshang looked at Yin Chuan with interest. Yao Tianshang was surprised that Yin Chuan dared to offend Guyu with his essence realm cultivation. It was obvious that he was an ant trying to shake an elephant. However, the more it was like this, the more interesting it was. Hide and tolerate evil? Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Guyu Holy Sun said that all the sects have to send one person. What about the Dezhao Holy Sun? Also, will the Alliance Master of the Life Moon League be going as well? Yin Chuan smiled at Wei Qin. Bastard, I'm with the Holy Sun. Why should I go? Wei Qin shouted. Yin Chuan wanted to drag him down with him? Wei Che immediately looked at Yin Chuan in horror. This brat was still so vicious even at this time? Guyu Holy Sun, I'm just an ordinary disciple. I don't count for much. I can represent the Jilu Academy. He, Wei Qian, is the leader of the Life League. He can never represent the dazzling Holy Land. Moreover, the Life League is a vassal of the Great Winged Heaven School, not the dazzling Holy Land. Therefore, the Holy Sun's decree must be carried out. He, Wei Qian, must also enter the immortal realm. We must. Yin Chuan's voice was sonorous and forceful. Must? It was as if a sharp sword was pressing towards Guyu Holy Sun again. Guyu Holy Sun's face stiffened. Was this the second time that Yin Chuan was forcing him? Guyu Holy Sun hated the feeling of being forced into a corner. He glared coldly at the hateful Yin Chuan. Holy Sun. Wei Che turned around anxiously. Mr. Monroe smiled coldly and stepped forward. Holy Sun. I think that the Holy Sun's decree must be carried out. Since Wei Che is the leader of the Life League, he must enter the immortal realm. When Ruo, you despicable person, are you trying to hit me when I'm down? Wei Che shouted. Enlightened Master Wei Che, you must be joking. I'm just stating the truth. If you don't enter the immortal realm today, what will the other sects think? Do you want to put the Holy Sun's dignity in front of them? The Holy Sun's words are like heaven's might. Heaven's might is not to be blasphemed. If we let you off today, how many more nets will we open in the future? Who will listen to the Holy Sun's words in the future? Mr. Monroe laughed. You bastard. Wei Che said hatefully. Also, the experts of the Yao clan are watching. You don't want the Holy Sun to be seen as a joke by the Yao clan, do you? Mr. Monroe laughed. Guyu Holy Sun's eyes narrowed when he heard Mr. Monroe's words. He turned to look at Yao Tianshang. When he saw the interest in Yao Tianshang's eyes, Guyu Holy Sun's hesitation dissipated. Wei Che, you go in as well. Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. The Holy Sun, Wei Che exclaimed. Go. Guyu Holy Sun glared at him. A powerful aura pressed down on Wei Che. Yes, yes, Wei Che said with an ugly expression. On the other side, Yin Chuan saw that the situation was settled. He smiled at Wei Che and said, "Alliance leader Wei, do you know why I want you to go in as well?" "Oomph." Wei Che harumphed coldly at Yin Chuan. "You forced my father to his death and sent the entire sect to hunt me down. I haven't forgotten this grudge. This is the immortal realm. I will kill you in front of everyone and use your death to atone for the sins of the Yin clan," Yin Chuan said coldly. As he spoke, Yin Chuan stepped into the immortal realm. Chapter 319. You forced my father to his death and sent the entire sect to hunt me down. I have not forgotten this grudge. This is the Zhu immortal domain. I will kill you in front of everyone and use your death to atone for the sins of the Yin clan, Yin Chuan said coldly. As he spoke, Yin Chuan stepped forward and jumped into the Zhu immortal domain. When Yin Chuan landed, Guyu Holy Sun's eyes were extremely dark. Although Yin Chuan did not target him, he still felt like he was being led around. Guyu Holy Sun hated this feeling. He stared at Yin Chuan, who was descending from the sky. On the other side, Yao Tianshang's expression changed slightly, and he took a deep breath. "King Spider," Yao Tianshang said softly. "Here." King Spider stepped forward. "Investigate this Yin Chuan's background," Yao Tianshang said in a low voice. "Investigate him? He's only in the essence realm, and he's about to die. What's the point?" King Spider was confused. Yao Tianshang took a deep breath and said, "I have a feeling that he won't die." King Spider was shocked. King Spider did not suspect Yao Tianshang because Yao Tianshang was King Spider's master. "Master, what kind of information do you want from him?" King Spider asked. "I have a feeling that he's not someone to be trifled with. Investigate carefully. I want everything," Yao Tianshang said seriously. "Everything?" King Spider looked at Yin Chuan, who was in the sky, in shock. In the east, there were only a few people that Yao Tianshang valued so much. How could an essence realm cultivator attract so much attention from Yao Tianshang? "Yes," King Spider said affirmatively. Boom! Yin Chuan jumped into the Zhu immortal domain. Suddenly, there seemed to be a strange force sealing Yin Chuan. Boom! Unable to use his essence chi, he fell to the ground and landed heavily, creating a large cloud of dust. Whoosh! On the high platform, the invisible man suddenly opened his eyes and stared at Yin Chuan. Buzz! A blue crescent-shaped blade suddenly appeared out of thin air. The blade seemed to be illusory, yet real at the same time. It was surrounded by a gentle breeze. Apparently, it was condensed by the breeze. Swish! The wind blade instantly shot towards Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan twisted his body and narrowly avoided the wind blade. The wind blade missed, but it did not disappear. Instead, it flew past Yin Chuan and flew back. Furthermore, the wind blade instantly split into two. Once again, he charged towards Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan's expression sank. As he twisted his body, he dodged another wind blade. The Jade Emperor's sword trembled slightly and collided with another wind blade. Boom! Yin Chuan was knocked back a step, but the wind blade was shattered by the sword. "Good sword," Mr. Monroe exclaimed, when Ruaw knew the sharpness of the wind blade. When a Dharma treasure was not infused with Dharma energy, it could only be destroyed by the wind blade. In the past, many cultivators' Dharma treasures have been shattered by the wind blade. However, Yin Chuan's sword was able to shatter the wind blade based on its material. "Wei Qin, why are you afraid? You are an immortal state cultivator. Why are you afraid of me?" "Ha ha ha!" Yin Chuan laughed. "Ha ha!" On the other side, the group of demons also laughed. Guyu Holy Sun saw Yao Tianshang's mocking laughter from afar, and his expression darkened. "Get down," Guyu Holy Sun said in a low voice. "Yes, yes," Wei Qin said with a dark expression. "Get down," Guyu Holy Sun shouted. "Yes," the 300 people around him replied. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 300 cultivators flew towards the Zhu immortal realm. As the crowd left, Guyu Holy Sun looked coldly at Yin Chuan. "Purple attendant," Guyu Holy Sun said to a purple attendant behind him. Chapter 320. Present. I hate this Yin Chuan. If he dies later, so be it. If he really breaks the formation, kill him. I don't want to see him. Guyu Holy Sun said coldly. Yes. The purple-clad attendant replied. Boom. Nearly 300 cultivators fell into the formation. Whoosh. Suddenly, a strong wind blew in the Zhu Immortal domain. The invisible man stood high above as more and more wind blades appeared around him. 100, 1,000, 10,000. 10,000 wind blades rained down on the cultivators like a storm. Rumble. The wind blades rushed toward the 300 cultivators like a river. Dang, 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 dang. The cultivators quickly raised their swords to block the wind blades. The wind blades immediately shattered, but the invisible man restored them in the blink of an eye. The storm rained down like 10,000 arrows, cutting the cultivators into a sorry state. Without magic power or a barrier of energy, the cultivators relied on their sword techniques and saber techniques. Arg! A wind blade instantly severed a cultivator's arm. His sword fell to the ground, and he became a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Save me! That cultivator abandoned his arm and ran toward the edge of the formation. However, it was too late. Nearly 100 wind blades rained down on him. PSSSD! PSSSD! Arg! The cultivator felt like he was being sliced into pieces. Blood spurted out from the pain, and he was reduced to a pile of blood in the blink of an eye. A cultivator died in the blink of an eye. Quick! Go into the gates. Quick! Someone shouted. Rumble! After blocking a large number of wind blades, everyone rushed towards different doors. Wei Chan's sword techniques were excellent. He quickly blocked the wind blades around him and rushed toward a gate. Boom! The wind blades scattered, and Yin Chuan suddenly appeared in front of Wei Chan. Wei Chan's expression froze. Move aside! Wei Chan shouted. Move aside? You know that I want to kill you, and you still want me to move aside? Yin Chuan said with a smile as he blocked the wind blades around him. If you don't move aside, there will be more wind blades. At that time, you will die. Wei Chan said anxiously. Indeed, in just a short while, the number of wind blades increased, and Wei Qin was beginning to feel like he was about to reach his limit. Alliance Master Wei, do you feel anything? Yin Chuan asked with a smile. What? Merit, the merit that you enjoy. Yin Chuan laughed. Wei Qin's expression changed. Is it because of you? Is it because of you? Wei Qin cried out in shock. 6,000 practitioners chased after me. Do you know why they didn't kill me? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Why? Wei Qin's face darkened, as if he had guessed something. You are right. The Life Alliance has suffered a great loss this time. I have killed all 6,000 practitioners. That's why you feel your merit decreasing. Yin Chuan sneered. No, impossible. Wei Qin cried out in shock. Nothing is impossible. Not only that, your life league will be destroyed soon. Do you believe me? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Rumble. As Yin Chuan spoke, yellow light suddenly scattered around Wei Qin's body. A large amount of yellow aura suddenly scattered from his body. How can this be? How can it be like this? My merit, my merit. Wei Qin cried out in alarm as he blocked the wind blades. Because your Life Alliance has been eliminated from the world. After my men returned, they launched an all-out counterattack against your Life Alliance. At this moment, they have already uprooted the Life Alliance, leaving no survivors. Yin Chuan shouted as he blocked the wind blades. Chapter 321. No, that's impossible. Wei Qin cried out in shock. Nothing is impossible. Yesterday's cause, today's effect. Everyone in the Life League is dead. Now it's your turn. Yin Chuan shouted. As he spoke, he swung his sword at Wei Qin. Clang, clang, clang. In the blink of an eye, he arrived before Wei Qin. The Jade Emperor's sword clashed with Wei Qin's sword. Clang, clang, clang. As the swords clashed, Wei Chan's sword was knocked back again and again. Impossible. You are only in the essence realm. How can you be so powerful? It's impossible for him to be stronger than me. Wei Qin exclaimed. Boom! A wind blade scattered Wei Qin's hair, cutting him into a sorry state. My strength is not enough, but my swordsmanship is stronger than yours. Yin Chuan laughed. Clang, clang. Yin Chuan's sword moved faster and faster, forcing Wei Qin toward the high platform where the invisible man was. Vibrating sword? Your sword can vibrate? Wei Qin finally realized that Yin Chuan's sword was different. All right, it's your turn to die. Yin Chuan sneered. Shing. He swung the Jade Emperor's sword. Boom. Wei Qin's sword was cut in half by the Jade Emperor's sword. Chi. The Jade Emperor's sword did not slow down and instantly cut through Wei Qin's throat. You. Wei Qin clutched his throat in horror. He was a God Realm Master. How could his swordsmanship be inferior to that of an Essence Realm Master? How could this be? Impossible. The scene of Yin Chuan cutting Wei Chu's throat also shocked everyone in the surroundings. Spider King said in surprise, Master, you are right. This person is really extraordinary. Essence Realm? Even if they don't have any cultivation, it's impossible for them to kill a deity. Good sword technique. Yao Tianshang's eyes narrowed. Master rarely praises people. King Spider said in surprise. But he's worthy of praise. It's been a long time since I've seen such a pure sword technique. Yao Tianshang praised. On the other hand, Guyu Holy Sun's face darkened. Cutting Wei Chu's throat with a single slash was like Yin Chuan slapping himself in the face. Although he did not like Wei Qin had come with him. How could he be killed by Yin Chuan in front of everyone? Where did he place himself? Guyu Holy Sun's face turned cold. No, I beg you, let me go. Wei Qin screamed as he clutched his throat. The threat of death instantly filled his heart. Let you go? Why won't you let me go? Don't worry, your death won't be in vain. Yin Chuan glared at him. Boom! Taking a step forward, he used the Jade Emperor's sword to block Wei Qin and shot toward the invisible man. Rumble. In an instant, hundreds and thousands of wind blades shot towards Yin Chuan and Wei Chu. With Wei Chu as a shield, Yin Chuan's speed increased, and a large number of wind blades slammed into Wei Chu's back. Boom! 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 Wei Qin's back was instantly sliced into 1,000 pieces, and his flesh was badly mangled. In an instant, there was no sound. Yin Chuan stepped forward and charged at the invisible person with Wei Qin's corpse. Boom! While the transparent person was panicking, Wei Qin's blood instantly dyed the transparent person. The transparent man let out a cry of pain. He used Wei Qin's empty shell to block the invisible man's counterattack. Yin Chuan suddenly slashed out with the Jade Emperor's sword in his hand. Break! Boom! Wei Qin and the invisible man were instantly cut in half. The transparent man screamed. With a loud bang, it exploded and a fierce wind blew in all directions. The surrounding wind blades were immediately scattered by the strong wind. The invisible person was insta-killed. Boom! The transparent man was instantly killed, and the outer barrier also exploded. The Zhu Immortal domain exploded? Someone exclaimed. Broken? The invisible man was killed just like that? Isn't it unkillable? It's not that it's unkillable. It's just that we didn't know how to kill it in the past. It turns out that we have to stain its body with fresh blood to kill it. Yin Chuan killed the invisible man. Countless cultivators looked at the scene in shock. At the same time, they were eager to make a move. Once the Zhu Immortal domain was broken, what came next would be easy. The ancient seal was about to be opened. Get ready. Yao Tianshang's face turned serious. Yes. The group of monsters replied. Yin Chuan? Yin Chuan broke it? Guyu Holy Sun still couldn't believe it. Holy Sun, be careful of Yao Tianshang. The purple-robed man beside him shouted. Get ready, get ready. Guyu Holy Sun quickly shouted. Mr. Monroe, on the other hand, narrowed his eyes and stared at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan recognized the feng shui formation last time. Could it be that Yin Chuan also recognized the ancient seal this time? Otherwise, how could he have broken it so easily? Mr. Monroe stared at Yin Chuan. The moment he saw Yin Chuan kill the invisible man, he shot toward a door. Chapter 322. Rumble. The moment the Zhu Immortal domain exploded, Broken Mountain started to shake violently. All the experts in the surroundings waited with rapt attention. Whoosh! As Broken Mountain shook, an extremely powerful aura was emitted. What the fuck? Was that thing sealed? Why is it so terrifying? Dongfang Zhengpai exclaimed. The human cultivators were slightly better off. Although they were suppressed by the powerful aura, they were more excited. The seal was broken, and the treasure inside was about to come out. On the other side, the experts of the demon race were all shocked. Master, this is the aura? This is the aura. It's too terrifying. Is it targeted against us demons? Master, many of my subordinates can't take it anymore. They can't move at all. Only a few of us Emptiness Realm demons are doing better. The group of great demons had ugly expressions. The treasure was indeed powerful, but this was not right. Why was it suppressing the demon race even more? Only Yao Tianshang was clenching his fists. His eyes were shining with excitement. Rumble. Many people on Broken Mountain retreated. The original 108 doors seemed to have disappeared. It was as if the entrance had disappeared. After one layer of restriction was broken, another layer opened. More than half of Broken Mountain collapsed, sinking more than 1,000 feet. After 1,000 feet, golden light shone in all directions. On the peak of Broken Mountain, there was 1,000 feet long golden blade. On the blade, there were two dazzling words, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer? Spider King exclaimed. Demon Slayer? Is this an immortal artifact targeted against us demons? Another great demon exclaimed. Immortal artifact. It is indeed an immortal artifact. And it's no ordinary immortal artifact. I can feel it. It's so powerful. Yao Tianshang said excitedly. Rumble. Large amounts of rocks floated in the air, as if they were lifted by the aura of the 1,000 feet long golden blade. Holy Sun, the thing in the seal is indeed powerful. The aura of the Demon Slayer is too strong. I feel that only the 3 Tao Lords' personal treasures can compare to it. A man in purple said respectfully. The Tao Lords' personal treasures? Guyu Holy Sun's eyes lit up. Boom! Without hesitation, Guyu Holy Sun soared into the sky. Rumble. After Guyu Holy Sun, the group of experts took action and protected Guyu as they charged towards Demon Slayer. Oomph. Yao Tianshang snorted coldly as he took a step forward. The group of great demons followed suit and charged towards Demon Slayer. Before he even arrived, Yao Tianshang's face had already turned ferocious. He clenched his fists and punched in Guyu's direction. Boom! Suddenly, a golden fist that was 100 feet large appeared in the sky. Following Yao Tianshang's hand gesture, the fist smashed toward the other side. Before the 100-meter-long golden fist arrived, a strong gust of wind was already blowing toward them. Some of the weaker cultivators were immediately sent flying. They spat out blood, and their eyes were filled with shock. Yes, Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. He stretched out his hand and struck out with his palm. A golden palm that was 1,000 feet in size appeared in the void. Hong! The palm and fist collided, producing a dull and loud sound. Boom! 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 The 10 mountain peaks in the outer area exploded under the aftermath of the explosion. The surrounding weak cultivators all spat out mouthfuls of blood, their eyes filled with shock. The power of an Emptiness Realm expert was so strong that just the aftermath of the attack was enough to make everyone spit out blood. He was too powerful. Chapter 323. We have to get the Demon Slayer at all costs. Yao Tianshang said as his eyes glowed. The Demon Slayer is mine. No one can take it away from me. Guyu Holy Sun also said as his eyes glowed. Both of them refused to back down. Their subordinates and experts all attacked. Rumble. The powerful impact created a storm in the surroundings. Oh my God, are they still humans? Dongfang Zheng sect quickly escaped. Dongfang Zheng sect was not the only one. Many of the weaker cultivators also escaped from the scene and ran towards the outside of the fog. Take my ass. The aftermath of the battle between the emptiness realm experts was going to kill them, and they still want to take it? All of them spat out blood and rushed out of the fog, escaping further and further away. At the same time, the fog in the center of the area was also rolling under the powerful impact. A mountain was hard to pronounce. The earth was shaking slowly. The black-robed feng shui master, Feng Yinyang, was looking coldly at the cultivators who were escaping. Are they coming out? Feng Yinyang said indifferently. As he spoke, Feng Yinyang formed a strange hand seal with his fingers and chanted a spell that no one could understand. As Feng Yinyang chanted, the yin qi in the surroundings became stronger and stronger. The skeletons in the mountains slowly stood up. After killing the invisible man, Yin Chuan instantly shot towards a large door. Yin Chuan knew that this was the door that led to the inside of the tomb. Moreover, this door would soon close. Phew! After stepping into the door, Yin Chuan entered a pitch-black tunnel. Soon, he passed through the tunnel, and Yin Chuan appeared in a vast hall. In the middle of the hall, there was a huge blade. The top of the blade was touching the ceiling of the hall, and below, it was a huge altar. The golden blade emitted a destructive aura. That's right. It is exactly the same as the tomb of the immortals in my previous life. However, in my previous life, the immortal sword pierced the tomb of the immortals, but this immortal tomb is pierced by a golden blade. Yin Chuan took a deep breath. He looked around and saw that there were many squares on the ground. Strange symbols were written on each square. It filled the entire hall. 9 palaces maze formation? Was it the same as in his previous life? Immortal tomb? Why was the layout exactly the same? Mortal tombs were all different, but these 2 tombs were shockingly similar. Could there be a connection? Yin Chuan's frown deepened. Although he didn't understand, Yin Chuan still walked back and forth along the grid. Yin Chuan walked around the hall and around the designated squares. After walking for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he stopped at one of the squares. Ooh! Suddenly, a large hole appeared in the ground. Without hesitation, Yin Chuan jumped in. Dong! Soon, Yin Chuan landed on the ground. However, the hole from which he had jumped down had disappeared. The new place was like a new cave. However, the ground was emitting light. It was like a circular plate that was 100 feet in size. The circular plate was transparent, like a crystal plate, but it was emitting a strange light. Inside the huge, transparent disc, there seemed to be circles of small, white dragons swimming around. What is this? The tomb of my previous life didn't have this. Yin Chuan looked at the transparent disc under his feet in surprise. Although he didn't recognize it, Yin Chuan could feel that it was extraordinary. Unfortunately, this thing was too big, and Yin Chuan couldn't move it. Soon, Yin Chuan no longer paid attention to the transparent disc. Instead, he looked at the center of the cave. In the center, there was a huge bronze coffin. The bronze coffin was 10 feet long. It was as tall as a 10-story building. Chapter 324. The coffin's appearance was simple, and there were not many fancy runes. There were only 4 words on the coffin lid. Sky-burying coffin. Sky-burying coffin again. Yin Chuan revealed a strange smile. In my previous life, the heaven-burying coffin was excavated from the tomb of the immortals. In the end, it became the coffin of my previous life. I wonder how my body is now lying in the heaven-burying coffin. Yin Chuan sighed slightly. Yin Chuan quickly walked forward and touched the coffin with his hand. No, although it's the same sky-burying coffin, the spirituality of this coffin seems to be slightly weaker than the one in my previous life. Yin Chuan felt for a moment and said, Slightly weaker? So be it. The treasures in the immortal's tomb in my previous life were in the coffin. Today's coffin should not disappoint me. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said, Rumble. Yin Chuan pushed the coffin lid. The coffin lid was very loose. With some force, Yin Chuan was able to slowly push it open. The coffin lid was pushed open. Suddenly, an ancient wild aura hit him in the face. Yin Chuan's heart tightened, and he stared at it. Inside the coffin, there was a white tiger that was 10 feet in size lying on the ground. The white tiger was lying on its side. It was already silent, but even if it was dead, its corpse could still emit a wild aura. It made one's heart palpitate. It's similar to my previous life. In my previous life, there was an immortal lying in the coffin, but here is a demon immortal? Once this coffin is opened, in less than 3 days, the white tiger will disappear with the wind. Yin Chuan thought for a moment. Bang! Yin Chuan jumped into the coffin and searched everywhere. After searching for a while, that's impossible. Why isn't there anything? Yin Chuan frowned. He kept searching, but there was no treasure that Yin Chuan wanted. In my previous life, there was an immortal's secret treasure in the coffin. Why is there nothing here? Don't demons need to be buried with them? Yin Chuan's expression was extremely ugly. Yin Chuan did not believe that he would return empty-handed. He carefully searched again, but after a round of searching, he still found nothing. Yin Chuan looked at the huge white tiger with an ugly expression. Gulialu. Suddenly, a strange voice sounded. Yin Chuan's pupils shrank as he looked at White Tiger. White Tiger's stomach was moving. His stomach was moving again? Yin Chuan's face suddenly changed. Could it be that the White Tiger was still alive? He carefully examined the White Tiger and confirmed that it was really dead. But why was her stomach? Yin Chuan looked at the wriggling stomach again in surprise. It was as if there was something in his stomach that was slowly moving from his abdomen to his chest. Gradually, it moved to the throat. Yin Chuan held the jade emperor sword with a guarded expression. Gradually, the white tiger's mouth trembled slightly. It was as if something was about to come out of its mouth. Yin Chuan lightly flicked the jade emperor sword. The tiger's mouth opened, and a bloody thing rolled out from within. 2 fist-sized balls and a trembling kitten covered in blood. A cat? The kitten seemed to have just been born. Its entire body was trembling. On its head, it was strangely wearing a small round felt hat. A kitten wearing a small felt hat? Meow. The kitten cried out pitifully. Yin Chuan's face was extremely strange. He thought of many possibilities, but he never thought that a kitten would crawl out of the white tiger's corpse. Try to walk closer. Yin Chuan grabbed the kitten and placed it in his palm. The kitten seemed to be extremely weak. Suddenly, it felt someone grab it. It opened its big blinking eyes and looked at Yin Chuan in confusion. Meow. The kitten cried out in confusion. The kitten was confused. Yin Chuan was even more confused. What was going on? The kitten seemed to like Yin Chuan very much. Its bloody body rubbed against Yin Chuan's palm and then suddenly bit on Yin Chuan's finger. Yin Chuan's face darkened. He was about to break free from the kitten. Clan contract? This is a monster clan contract? Yin Chuan was surprised. That was because as the little cat bit down, a golden light flashed at the tip of its finger. In the air, a 10-foot round wheel suddenly appeared. Within the round wheel, there was the image of a huge tiger. It was a white tiger. The tiger looked exactly the same as the white tiger's corpse in the coffin. Next, a human figure suddenly appeared next to the white tiger. It was Yin Chuan's human figure. The round wheel spun for a while. After spinning, it suddenly entered the kitten's body. At the same time, the kitten greedily sucked the blood from Yin Chuan's finger. It drank about a teacup's worth of blood before it was satisfied and stopped. Meow. The kitten cried out weakly and fell asleep. Clan contract? Who are you? Yin Chuan looked at the sleeping kitten in surprise. Chapter 325. Meow. The kitten meowed weakly and fell asleep. Clan contract? Who exactly are you? Yin Chuan looked at the sleeping kitten in surprise. Meow. The sleeping kitten meowed as if it was talking in its sleep. Even though it had fallen asleep, the kitten was still trembling as if it was afraid of something or had a nightmare. A clan contract for monsters. Only monsters with extremely high bloodlines have the right to have a clan contract. Once the clan contract is signed, I will have the power of this kitten's bloodline. Then, as long as the kitten's bloodline is lower than its, it will not be able to make things difficult for me. I can even summon this kitten through some secret method. Yin Chuan looked at the trembling kitten in his palm. Unfortunately, I don't know how to summon it. Why did you choose me? Could it be that you want me to bring you out? Yin Chuan frowned as he looked at the kitten. Don't worry. Even without this clan contract, I will bring you out. Although I didn't sign any clan contract in my previous life, my national beast was the tiger. You are related to the tiger clan. Naturally, I will not ignore you. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said, bang. Yin Chuan jumped out of the sky, burying coffin. After thinking for a while, he pushed the coffin lid back. Rumble. The coffin lid returned to normal. Yin Chuan squinted his eyes as he looked at the sky-burying coffin. Although this sky-burying coffin is not as good as mine, it is still a rare treasure. Unfortunately, I can't take it away. Yin Chuan sighed. Even if he brought the spatial scroll, it wouldn't be able to contain this treasure. Walking to the edge of the cave, he held the kitten with one hand and took out the Jade Emperor's sword with the other. The Jade Emperor's sword slashed. Boom! Not a single mark was left on the wall. Yin Chuan was pushed back by the force. The surroundings are still filled with poison. It's not time to go out yet. Yin Chuan frowned. Outside. Boom! With a loud bang, 9 huge tornadoes appeared around Yuanduan Mountain, sweeping up endless mountain rocks and rushing into the sky. On both sides of the broken mountain was a huge light screen. On the other side of the screen was Guyu Holy Sun and a large number of experts. On the other side was Yao Tianshang and the other demons. Both sides were pushing against the light screen, and the two enormous forces were suppressing each other. Rumble! Guyu Holy Sun's expression was extremely ugly. The light screen was slowly pressing towards him. On the other side, Yao Tianshang's face was hideous as he sneered. Ha ha! Dazhao, holy ground. Holy Sun? I, Yao Tianshang, have overestimated you. Yao Tianshang, Guyu Holy Sun said with an ugly expression. Yao Tianshang ignored Guyu Holy Sun and reached out to grab Demon Slayer. When his palm touched Demon Slayer, it emitted a dazzling golden light. CI. Demon Slayer strongly resisted Yao Tianshang. It even burned Yao Tianshang's palm. Blood splattered everywhere. My lord, King Spider exclaimed. Haha, it's fine. Good treasure. Suppress them for me. Once I take out Demon Slayer, you want to kill me? Be my slave soldier. Yao Tianshang glared at them. Roar. Yao Tianshang roared. Golden light shot out from his hand, and a huge force was released. Rumble. Demon Slayer was slowly pulled out. When Demon Slayer was pulled out, the surrounding mountains shook. Rise! Yao Tianshang's body turned red as Demon Slayer was slowly pulled out. The ground shook, and the mountains shook, radiating out in all directions. 5 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers. Chapter 326. The entire Demon Wind mountain range shook violently. Be it humans or demons, everyone in the Demon Wind mountain range felt an extremely destructive aura. The mountains and the surroundings shook violently, causing countless cultivators to feel an indescribable fear. Both the Yao and the human race fled the Demon Wind mountain range. The earthquake in the entire Demon Wind mountain range had completely exceeded everyone's expectations. Dark clouds covered the sky. When Shao Chun drew his golden saber, the weather changed. Rumble! Dark clouds covered the sky as lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. It was as though they were celebrating the birth of Demon Slayer. That's mine! That's mine! Guyu Holy Sun shouted angrily. But the two sides were almost equal in strength, and they couldn't interfere at all. Xing! Yao Tianshang finally pulled out Demon Slayer. Boom! 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 Amidst the dark clouds, tens of thousands of lightning bolts rained down. It was as if the heavenly river was collapsing. Rolling thunder and lightning blasted towards Yao Tianshang. Yao Tianshang's body trembled, and a wild and savage aura erupted, blasting away the 10,000 lightning bolts that were coming from all directions. 10,000 lightning bolts broke free, shooting in all directions, blasting apart countless mountains and rivers. Yao Tianshang grabbed the Demon Slayer, and his eyes flashed with surprise. What a powerful Demon Slayer! Even I can't handle it. Master, we can't hold on any longer, cried Spider King. Yao Tianshang turned to look at both sides and said, Let's go. Understood. The group of monsters answered. Boom! Yao Tianshang grabbed Monster Slayer and soared into the sky. The group of great demons and demon kings all followed suit. Stop! Leave Demon Slayer behind, shouted Guyu Holy Sun. As he spoke, he was about to soar into the sky. Holy Sun, no! A man in purple shouted. What are you doing? Guyu Holy Sun glared at him. The purple-clothed man immediately said, Holy Sun, that's just a stain. There's still a huge treasure below. If we chase after Yao Tianshang, we might not be able to snatch the Demon Slayer, but Guyu Holy Sun immediately sobered up after hearing the purple-clothed man's words. Holy Sun, look! The man in purple pointed at the sky with an ugly expression. At this moment, the ancient moon saint sun finally calmed down. Dark clouds? This isn't a celestial phenomenon caused by Demon Slayer's appearance, nor is it caused by something sealed inside. Instead, there's an expert lying in wait. Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. Yes, just now, Yao Tianshang managed to break free from the lightning. The strong cultivator hiding in the dark also let Yao Tianshang go. That strong cultivator is inside the seal. There's something he wants inside the seal, said the man in purple clothes. Oh no! Guyu Holy Sun's expression changed. Guard the surroundings. Guyu Holy Sun shouted. Yes, his subordinates replied. Rumble. There were more and more dark clouds, and the sky was getting darker and darker. It was pitch black as if it was late at night. Ka 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 ka. White bones suddenly crawled out of the ground. Skeletons crawled out of the ground, and a large number of corpses seemed to have come to life. Suddenly, green lights appeared in the air all around, as if ghosts were dancing in the air. It was eerie and terrifying. Holy Sun, this is a feng shui master, a powerful feng shui master. He can reverse yin and yang, reverse yin and yang. Mr. Wenruo exclaimed. Reverse yin and yang? Guyu Holy Sun's expression darkened. Holy Sun, hurry up and get the treasure. The feng shui master can reverse yin and yang, and many ghosts have been summoned. There must be a large number of ghosts breaking into the seal now. Hurry, hurry, hurry. If you don't hurry, the treasure inside the seal will be stolen by the feng shui master. Mr. Monroe shouted. Chapter 327. When Mr. Monroe yelled, Guyu Holy Sun realized the severity of the situation. His face darkened. He reached out his hand and struck downwards. Boom! A huge force hit the ground, causing countless skeletons to rise from the ground. A hole appeared in the ground, but they still couldn't see what was inside the seal. Bastard, bastard! Guyu Holy Sun kept attacking the seal like a madman, emptying the ground again and again. In the deepest part of the cave, Yin Chuan's cave, the moment Yao Tianshang pulled out Demon Slayer, the cave shook violently. Boom! The Jade Emperor's sword hit the cave wall again, creating a huge hole in the wall. Phew! We can finally get out. Yin Chuan revealed a slight smile. Ka ka, ka ka ka. Suddenly, skeletal claws appeared on the walls of the cave. The skeletal claws appeared from the walls of the cave as if they were trying to squeeze in. Reverse yin and yang? Is that feng yin yang? Feng yin yang. So this is where you were waiting. Yin Chuan said in surprise. Yin Chuan took off a small jade talisman from his neck. He looked at the jade talisman and smiled bitterly. This time, it's all thanks to ZZ's Earth Escape Talisman. Yin Chuan exclaimed. He clenched his fist. Buzz! The Earth Escape Talisman emitted a yellow light that covered Yin Chuan and Xiao Mao. Yin Chuan grabbed the broken Earth Escape Talisman with one hand and carried Xiao Mao. He grabbed the Jade Emperor's sword with the other hand and slammed into the cave wall. Buzz! There was no sound of collision. Yin Chuan seemed to have entered the cave. It was as if he had entered the bottom of the water, and there was a cover around him that didn't allow water or soil to enter. With the yellow light covering him, Yin Chuan advanced smoothly in the soil. Roar! Suddenly, one of the corpses in the ground seemed to come alive and pounced towards Yin Chuan. Screech! He swung the Jade Emperor's sword and chopped off the corpse's head. Yin Chuan continued forward. As they continued forward, one ghost after another pounced on them. There were skeletons, zombies, and even a ghost. They all rushed towards Yin Chuan one after another. Yin Chuan kept swinging the Jade Emperor sword in his hand as he tried to escape. There were too many of them, and they were coming from all directions. What Yin Chuan saw was only the tip of the iceberg. In the outside world, what Guyu Holy Sun was facing was far more terrifying. The Holy Sun, Guyu Holy Sun, was still facing off against the powerful Ghost Kings. A dark skeletal dragon was also circling around the immortal tomb. Dark clouds covered the sky as lightning flashed wildly. On the peak of a mountain, Feng Yinyang stood quietly. Heaven-burying coffin. There must be a heaven-burying coffin here. Feng Yinyang's voice was hoarse. Million ghost devils, listen to my command. Search, search, search. Woo, 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 woo. More and more ghosts and skeletons appeared. Aside from the group of Emptiness Realm experts, the others were in a sorry state. A large number of cultivators were eaten by the ghosts. Break for me. Boom. Guyu Holy Sun's final attack sent a large number of ghosts flying. Immediately, the cave at the bottom of the cave was exposed. In the cave, there was a huge coffin. Below, it was a huge crystal-like round wheel. However, a large number of ghosts were roaming around it. Finally, Guyu Holy Sun's eyes flashed with excitement. Heaven-burying coffin? Feng Yinyang's voice was filled with joy from afar. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and at the edge of the dark clouds, screech. Screech. Two long screeches of Blue Luan could be heard. Blue Luan pulled a huge chariot and flew towards the center. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.